Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Steven Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Spotlight. Shout out to Big Dick MLJ for the intro. As always, I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Steven Jensen. Jensen, we are an hour earlier than usual. We'll be an hour earlier than usual next week. You are representing the Cody Rhodes, as always. I am representing the GOATs. I can't see it. Brian Danielson. We are ready to go here on the Spotlight. We got a big show, plenty to talk about. I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep after a 6-hour round trip to Dynamite last night. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. We have a great show for y'all today. A lot of big stuff to talk about, obviously. Yeah, how was Dynamite last night? I mean, it was an awesome show on TV. I'm sure you had a good time live.
Oh, it was a great show live. And like Jen said, we got a big show, and part of our big show is the Creator's Spotlight a little bit later on, where we got the return of Dad, and he brought a guest with him. Johnny Spotlight, John Morrison was on the show as well. They talk Creators Clash 2, a little bit of pro wrestling. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, portable Nintendo 64s. We learned a lot about Dad and Johnny Spotlight on that one. So check that out later on in the show, everybody. That'll be on about an hour and a half or so. All right, Jensen, let's get into it. I mean, we gotta start with your guy, right?
You want to be a professional wrestler, or do you want to be a WWE superstar? You know, WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler.
Adrenaline in the soul, Royal Rumble winner, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Jensen, I'm just gonna lay out here.
All right, I had to clear my throat out a little bit before we go on with this. So on Saturday, for anyone listening to this, Saturday was one of the best days of my life. In the afternoon, I got to witness American hero Joey Jaws Chestnut eat 15 pounds of macaroni and cheese in 5 minutes. New world record. The previous record, I believe, was 10 pounds in 10 minutes, and I think he got 15 in 5, something like that. It was incredible. And I got to meet him, got to shake his hand, and got to tell him face to face how much of an American hero he is. And he was a super, super, super nice guy. And I already showed you this, Jeremy, but I got you an autograph of his right here that I'm going to send to you. Yeah, this is from the that kind of authenticity almost. Like, that's the place. So like they're hiring now for the place that we were at that they did all this. I got you one, got Jesse Davin one, got myself one. So so I did that on Saturday afternoon. It was incredible, awesome experience. And then so that was part one. It was like, okay, now mission one is accomplished. I met Joey Chestnut, got my picture with the mustard belt, got my autograph. Now Cody just got to win the Royal Rumble. And boy, did he pull through. So, I mean, what else can I really say outside of, like, the whole finish the story thing? I feel like it is going to happen. I feel like you don't do all this with Cody if it doesn't end with him beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. And we're going to talk about that because obviously Sami Zayn had his big turn on the Bloodline, which we're going to talk about. And this all kind of ties in to one another. Both of our spotlights really intertwined. Jeremy's spotlight being, Sami turning on the Bloodline and the Bloodline story in general and where this is all going. So, like, but dude, I mean, the only critique I think anyone could have, and this isn't really a major critique, is Cody coming in at 30. I think some people were just like, he probably should have come in a little earlier. Like, 30 is a little, almost like too on the nose, but at the same time, it was the big return and he was going to win anyway. So, like, I don't really care. As long as he was going to win, I'm good with that. But dude, it was great. And then Gunther, going from number 1 to number 30 and them having like a mini match at the end kind of reminded me almost of like Shawn and Taker in their Royal Rumble, where we got like a match out of those two guys and then the big finish and stuff. So, like, I thought the men's Royal Rumble match was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I was ecstatic that Cody Rhodes won. And then when he came out on Raw on Monday and made it clear that his intentions are Roman Reigns and to become the WWE Universal Champion or undisputed WWE Universal Champion, whatever they call it now. And he's tweeting pictures of like the Winged Eagle belt and stuff, or Instagram pictures of the Winged Eagle belt and stuff like that. And it's like, because I know there was a lot of people, and I'll get your thoughts on here in a second. I won't ramble too long, but I know there's a lot of people that felt like this was more about Cody winning the title than about him beating Roman. And I do think that's the case. I do think the overall story is more about Cody coming back to the WWE and becoming the champion. But it's also a lot about being their next Cena in a way. Like, he needs to beat Roman to get that spot. And that's, so so I think it's both. He needs to beat Roman to become the champion. And they don't need to split the titles off or anything. Like, Cody needs to win it all from WrestleMania. And I feel like that's what's going to happen now. So obviously I'm very excited about that.
I thought, so I'm going to go back all the way to the Rumble here in a second. You can talk as long as you need to. This is your moment with Cody Rhodes. I know you've been, since we started this show, this is what you've been waiting for. Since Cody came back to WWE, this is what you've been waiting for.
Oh, dude, I've already got, this just came, this is the wrong guy. This just came in the other day. Got the Elite now. And then, dude, the night of the Royal Rumble, I went and already bought the new, a new Cody Rhodes hoodie with a new logo, another one of his new t-shirts with one of his new logos. Like, I'm completely, and I mean, I almost didn't wear this today because it's like I've been wearing it show after show after show, but I'm like, I didn't know
if you had washed it, if you've taken it off, if you just had it on the entire week, and like it's just your lucky Cody hoodie. I wasn't sure, to be honest with you.
I've washed it. I've washed it once in the last week, and I've worn it a lot. But to be fair, the only place that I've worn it out, and the only reason I washed it was the meeting chestnut. I've been working from home all week, so like it's like I've just been putting it on and then just like either sitting on my couch and on a laptop, or it just comes right off after the show and I just work in a t-shirt. So it's not like I'm out and about and like, there's not, so it's one of those things where it's not like I'm out and about in the world wearing a disgusting, unclean hoodie all the time. But yes, I am very superstitious though. So it is one of those things where like, if the Vikings are winning and I'm wearing the same Adam Thielen jersey every week, I won't watch it until they lose. Like I am one of those kind of people. So, anyways, that all said, go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Go, get your Cody praise in.
I thought they should have had him as a surprise in the Rumble because the surprises weren't that great. Like Booker T was legitimately the only surprise, I feel like. So it would have been cooler if Cody was just number 30. We knew it was going to happen, but if he would just showed up as a surprise number 30, but they had to do 3 million video packages every week to let you know he was going to be there. I'm glad he won. I'm glad he won for you. I'm glad Sami Zayn wasn't in it because everyone was like, Sami should win, Sami should win, Sami should win. And I said it the day of. I was like, what if like Sammy's not in it? I feel like everyone was just presuming he was going to be in it, and then he wasn't. I kind of thought that was the right call for him not to do it. And then Cody coming out at 30, you weren't going to have the Rey Mysterio, Daniel Bryan situation of like, wait a second, where's Bryan? Even though we love Rey, where's Bryan?
Right.
Cody was always going to get cheered. I think people, especially the fans who love the Bloodline storyline, which is the majority of fans, I think they really underestimate just how popular Cody Rhodes is. And yeah, he came out, got a big reaction the following night. That man, he's still moving the merchandise. He is still like the top guy in WWE. As far as him going on to WrestleMania, it's the right call. Him beating Roman, which I presume is going to happen, but there's still a lot of time left. Plans can change. I think that's the right call. I would say, so I'm going to go into the Bloodline storyline now, because as you said, like it does all tie together. That moment at the end of the Rumble, when Sami turned on Roman and that the reaction that got was just one of the top reactions in the decade, especially when it wasn't just like entrance based. Like when Cody came back, huge reaction. These returns, Austin comes back, huge reactions. Like entrance-based reactions when the music hits, okay, those are big things. like a moment like that, getting that kind of reaction. I can't remember the last time I heard something like that. There hasn't been like a title change. I mean, Roman's held the belts for 2 years now. So there hasn't been like a title change that's like got maybe Big E, but even Big E, it didn't top that reaction that Sami Zayn got. Like I can't remember a moment that has topped that reaction.
That feels like, at least in the last few years, like the last time it feels like was like maybe what they were alluding to, obviously, was like the Shield when when Rollins turned, there was a big pop on Roman, and also like when Danielson turned on. That was a decade ago. I know, yeah. And Danielson
2014.
Danielson turning on the Wyatt family, and that was like 10 years ago too. But that's like the kind of stuff that are like really, that's like the only stuff that I feel like that like wasn't like like a big title change or something, just like a moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So no, I'm with you. It's been a long time since I feel like we've heard something like that. And now that I think about it, it's been like a decade since we heard something like that in the WWE. That wasn't a title change, or like the Hardys coming back at WrestleMania type of thing.
Right. When you take out returns and even some title changes, like don't get this kind of reaction. I mean, so like Bryan winning, yes. Big E got a big reaction.
Trophy Mania.
Right. Like there have been good title change reactions, but if you just look at like a moment, you're right. It's probably Bryan Wyatt family and Rollins turning, but the reaction Sami got when he hit that man with the chair, the aftermath with everything, it's really tough for me to deny Sami Zayn winning that title. And I've thought of different scenarios. I understand why it should be Cody at WrestleMania who defeats Roman. And the best scenario I can come up with that I think maybe makes all parties happy is you actually put the title on Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber and you give him an even bigger reaction in Montreal. You put the title on Sami, and then Sami, you do Sami and Cody at WrestleMania. And I still think that's a big match. Is it bigger than Roman and Cody? Probably not, because Sami doesn't quite have that cachet that Roman Reigns does, especially throughout this reign. But man, it feels like Sami winning this title to complete this story. And I know people will say that, well, the story is the tag titles when him and Owens win the tag titles. That's going to be a big moment. And that will be a big moment as well. But that reaction, the way this story has played out, him actually beating Roman Reigns. Oh man. Like the pop you would get in Montreal too for that. I would do it. I'm not a coward like Triple H. I would do it. I would actually do that. And there's a story to be told of Sami beating Roman. Sami beats Roman. Roman gets doubted by Solo, gets doubted by Jimmy. Jay even kind of like, man, Sami had it all along. Like he can kind of he could actually split with Jimmy a little bit and maybe do something else. We've seen the Usos together forever. They're great, but Jay's been so good in this storyline as well. Sami doesn't need a long run. Cody can still beat him at WrestleMania. Cody can still have his WrestleMania moment, get the titles and everything. I don't think Sami Zayn is not someone who is, especially this story, is not like, oh, he needs the belt for 6 months, 8 months, whatever it might be. It could be a short run to finish this story with a Sami Zayn title win. Roman doubting himself of like, this jackass Punk. Like, I saved him from obscurity and then he fucking beats me. Like Roman having that doubt after that. You can still do Roman and Cody. Roman rebuilds a little bit. You could still do Roman and Cody down the line. I feel like you got to finish this story with a Sami Zayn victory.
So I disagree, but that's only because Cody exists. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in any other scenario, I agree with Sami's majorly over. The story's been fantastic. The logical conclusion for Sami would be to beat Roman Reigns. I completely understand where you're coming from. I totally agree. And I think a lot of fans agree with what you're saying. Where I'm at with everything, and I've heard, I've heard Brian Alvarez from Wrestling Observer pretty much lay out the exact scenario that I was going to talk about today. So I want to let everyone know I'm not just parroting what Brian said, although Brian Alvarez is a guy I massively respect. So like I actually, a lot of my wrestling views do wind up aligning with his, but I just want to lay out kind of what he said because it's exactly how I feel things should play out. So what I think should happen is we do Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns in Montreal. Obviously, that makes the most sense. Sami's from Montreal. They're going to have it's going to be massive. That's going to be awesome. I think up to that point, you have Sami and Jay are like aligned against the Bloodline between now and Elimination Chamber. And at Elimination Chamber in Montreal, Sami Zayn comes super ultra close to winning the title. Like he is a hair away from that 3 count. But Jey Uso screws him. So Jey screws Sami. And now we have essentially the heat has transferred now from, well, I mean, there's still obviously heat between Sami and Roman, which you can go back to. But in the immediate short term, you would have now Sami and Jey is the real conflict. And Bloodline's beating down Sami after the match in Montreal. The place is going nuts. They're throwing trash into the ring. And then Kevin Owens comes out, who we haven't seen since Royal Rumble. He comes out in Montreal, in his hometown. Massive pop, and Owens cleans out the ring. And the Elimination Chamber ends with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens hugging in the middle of the ring in Montreal with the place just going nuts. And now we're off to the races for Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beating the Usos at WrestleMania for the tag titles. And not only that, I would have the Usos versus Zayn and KO be the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. So it's a big moment. It's a big match, big pop for the title change. Because we also have to keep in mind the Usos have been the tag champions for like forever also. So it's like a huge victory for whoever beats them. And then almost the overall story, you start, when you take a step back, you realize this is also about Cody, Owens, and Zayn taking out the Bloodline collectively. Because you have Cody with the whole royal family angle and wanting to be the champion. And we haven't even seen, that's the thing that people are underestimating. We haven't even seen Roman and Cody going back and forth yet. This is going to get so good once Roman starts talking about Cody leaving and what he had to do to become a star and come back. And how Roman's still going to beat him. And like, what's he going to do then? And how Cody's he had to leave the company he started to come back here to finish the story for his dad and his family. I mean, this is going to be an incredible story, I think, that hasn't even really gotten started. So people have to understand that too. But I think night 1 of WrestleMania, Owens and KO win the tag team titles after Sami hits a brain buster on the top rope. Like, because WWE audience hadn't seen that. They're going to lose their mind. So he hits one of those, 1, 2, 3. Hits one of those on Jey, right into the top turnbuckle, 1, 2, 3. And then so night 1 of WrestleMania ends, and after the match, maybe even Roman shuns the Usos or something. So like there's this ominous feeling going into night 2 for the Bloodline and for Roman. He's like, we lost the tag titles. You know, he's super paranoid now. So he's not on his game now. And he's going into the Cody match messed up in the head. As I say, I think at the end of the match with Cody, refs knocked down, something happens. You don't know what's going to happen. Bloodline comes out to try to help Roman win. That's when you get another massive pop when KO and Owens come out and fight off the Bloodline outside the ring. So it leaves it open for Cody to hit the crossroads in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, and win the title. So I think it's going to all intertwine where it's like Cody, Owens, and Zayn over the 2 nights of WrestleMania just destroy the Bloodline. And then I think the Usos and Roman probably leave TV for a while. And, and then we just kind of have just like a new landscape of WWE for a while with Owens and Zayn as the tag champions, which rules, by the way, because we're going to get incredible tag team matches out of those guys. And then Cody's your new champion. So we got something fresh and something new at the top. And then Roman, when he comes back, it'll be super interesting to see what he does and how he reacts to everything. So that's where I'm that's where I'm at with everything. That's the plan that I would go with. And also one other thing about Sami Zayn, I think he should be the WWE champion at sometime soon. Like I agree with you that the amount of how over he is, you can't just ignore that. You got to do something with that. But I do see him kind of like you said, more of like a shorter term champion. I see him. This is the ultimate compliment, by the way. I see him as like their Attitude Era style or like version of Mick Foley almost.
Yeah.
Where, you know, he's not the best looking guy, a little rough around the edges. What's that?
I said, how dare you?
Well, you know what I mean.
Man, Sami Zayn with that beard.
He's not like a John Cena or like a Cody Rhodes or a Roman Reigns. He's just like, he kind of looks like one of us with like a big beard, long hair.
Yeah.
No,
exactly. That's why he is good looking.
Well, okay, fine. Well, yes. But I'd say the same thing about Mick Foley. You know, he's just like kind of like an everyman. He was like one of us, and he was massively over, and he was always a perennial main event level guy. And every now and then you could put the title on him and it made sense and people would go crazy for it, but then you'd take it off him pretty soon because he didn't really need it. So yeah, once again, I know I'm rambling on this episode, but you've given me permission to, because this is a very big story for me, what's going on with Cody, and I love the Bloodline story. I think it's been really, really, really good. So how do you feel about that, Jeremy? Do you think that they should go with your idea, or do you think they should go with my idea of like just going with the tag titles, main event of WrestleMania, Cody wins night 2, and that's the new landscape of WWE for the time being?
Well, obviously they should go with my idea because it's better, because Sami Zayn gets the title and it's not cowardly of, oh, let's just go and put him with the tag titles and let's go with Cody. Strike while the iron's hot. Sami Zayn victory in Montreal? Are you kidding me?
No, I get it.
I get it. That will be the pop to end all pops. Sami Zayn winning that belt in Montreal. They're going to end up going with your idea, because I feel like this has been the plan for a while now. And I said it as far back as like, I think before Survivor Series, that it looks like this is how it was all going to shape out. And I completely understand it. It makes sense. The story that they are telling right now that you just laid out completely makes sense, because Sami and Bloodline has not just been Sami winning the title from Roman Reigns. I understand that hasn't been Sami's goal. That hasn't been what they've been pushing to. Sami is just as involved with the Usos and trying to earn their respect, and Jay especially, like, than he has been with Roman Reigns, where Roman has always like treated him sometimes less than and made him earn his keep a little bit more. But Jay has always been the one that is like, I don't trust this guy. He shouldn't be here and stuff. Then he earned the trust, and then he turned his back on. And like Sami immediately when he hit Roman looks at Jay and is just like, I'm like, he didn't pay attention to anybody else. He felt so bad that he basically did that to Jay. He didn't even care that he did it to Roman. He did it to Jay. So that has been the story. I get that. I completely understand it. And that's why I do think they'll go with Sami and Owens beating the Usos. It all makes sense. Sometimes, especially in this case, when you listen to that reaction, you got to change things up, and you gotta strike on this stuff. Super fights, hashtag super fights, strike while the iron's hot, hashtag GSP Silva, hashtag Silva Jones. That sometimes you got to do it. Okay. You can't miss out on some of this stuff. And
for non-MMA fans, Jeremy just hashtag 2 fights that never happened that we all wanted.
Yes,
to happen.
But that was a Lorenzo Fertitta tweet when they were trying to get together. Oh yeah, I love joking about this. Yeah, it's when Mayweather and Pacquiao negotiations the first time fell through, and Lorenzo's like, got to give the fans what they want. Super fights, hashtag GSP Silva, hashtag Silva Jones, strike while the iron's hot. And then they never did those fucking fights. And you see sometimes you just got to strike. And Sami Zayn, Montreal, WWE, undisputed, universal, whatever title, you got to do it. Don't be a coward. Don't be a coward when it comes to this stuff. So I'm not, just give the people what they want. They want Sami Zayn winning that title. I do agree with Dragon's point, by the way. He says that it's a better spot, Sami not win it, and people want him to win it, and a plummet in of interest after that. This is why I don't think you should have a long run or anything. Face versus face for Cody's title run is sour booking for the new fresh company guy. It'd be face versus face going into WrestleMania. And I do see where that's like, who are we going to cheer? What are we going to go with? Because the journey for Sami is here and then winning the title. And then after that, I don't know how much is left for him just as the champion. That's why it wouldn't be a long reign in my mind. It would be Cody beating him at WrestleMania. I'm going to trust Sami and Cody to give you a great story from Elimination Chamber to all the way to WrestleMania, though. I'm really going to trust that. You know what? Throw Roman in there and make it a triple threat match. Have Roman. It's Roman. He had this extremely long run. He can get back in the picture here. Get it. Make it a triple threat match. Just put the belt on Sammy. Just put it on Sammy.
Nah. No, it's got to be Cody. It has got to be Cody.
It's gonna be Cody. It's still gonna be Cody.
Yeah,
but
I'm excited. Cody. I'm excited for all this. I think it's gonna be.
Joel,
I'm interested in WrestleMania. Obviously,
Joel Pearl says so. Sammy wins, and then what? Then he faces Cody at WrestleMania, and you trust that Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes can tell a great story from Elimination Chamber to WrestleMania because they can, because they are that fucking good.
Yeah, but then and then what? Then Cody gets booed at WrestleMania for beating Sami Zayn. Like that
Cody's not getting booed at WrestleMania. Cody's not getting booed at WrestleMania.
I mean, I hope not, but I don't know why you would. It's a bad idea, Jeremy. This is a bad idea.
And then put Roman back in there. Make it a triple threat match.
No, just can't do it. And then it leaves Owens totally high and dry after all this. What's he do?
He faces Solo.
Oh. I don't know about any of this.
He faces Solo Sikoa. What's wrong with that match?
I mean, I like the idea of that match, but I don't think that's. I just don't see any. I don't see this playing out like that. But hey, listen, I get it. I get the whole Sami Zayn thing. I am not. I don't have blinders on. I have like Cody Rhodes bias.
You have the biggest blinders of all of us because you're just adrenaline in your soul. Cody Rhodes blinders on.
Yes, but I'm also not like delusional to the point of not understanding where they're at with Sami Zayn. I mean, I heard the pop when he turned on Roman, and it's been built. It's been the only thing outside of Cody's return coming. The only thing I've been interested in the WWE for a long time has been the Bloodline story, but I've been actually paying attention to that along the way. We've talked about it, multiple weeks here on the show. So, but yeah, yeah, see, Joel gets it. He says the purest heel versus the purest babyface is the play. I totally agree. Totally agree. This is classic professional wrestling. This is the white meat babyface Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare going in there. It's the one royal family versus another. I think WrestleMania, by the way, I think Charlotte beats Rhea Ripley. I know that's going to be a controversial take.
Oh God!
But I think that WrestleMania ends with two royal families still at the top: Charlotte Flair and Cody Rhodes.
Could you imagine they should just come out together or at the end they just close the show together, big hug, get Brandy in there, get Rick in there, just all the royal families.
Well, I think that there is a storyline that we will see eventually that is a royal family, like because I know they're kind of playing it with Roman and Cody right now, but like there's the Flairs, there's the Wyndhams, there's a whole bunch of royal families in wrestling that they can. I mean, I'm dreading the day when Cody Rhodes has to wrestle Bray Wyatt, which we're going to talk about here shortly.
It's going to fucking roll. Here's how WrestleMania should end. It should end with Cody and Charlotte hugging. Brandy can join them. Pharaoh can be out there. Bring Andrade out. Ric Flair. Bring them all out there. And then the lights go out and the Fiend music plays. Bray Wyatt said the Fiend died at WrestleMania 37. He's resurrected in Hollywood. Hollywood loves reboots and resurrections, right? That's like every movie nowadays. The Fiend music plays. And then when the lights come back on, everybody's laid out, and there's the Fiend standing tall to close WrestleMania 39. What do you think, Jensen? This is the best idea I've ever had.
Okay, so we're gonna put a pin in that for just 1 second. If we want to hit these super chats real quick, I need to address some enemies here in a second.
Mike says, good morning to you both. Have a great day, fellas. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. Everyone check out Indeed Everyone check out Indeed with Mike and Righteous Reg on Fightful Overbooked later on today. And then T Simber says, I don't know. I think Cody versus Roman is a better long term than Sammy versus Roman for the moment. Yep. Look, I agree with what Jensen is saying. A lot of this is devil's advocate on my part. But I do think Sammy beating Roman in that moment in Montreal is something that is would live forever. We care about long-term storytelling. Moments, everybody. Moments.
Yes.
That's all we care about.
So back to Bray Wyatt and the Mountain Dew.
Do you want to do this now? Do you want to do this now?
I mean, do you have more you want to talk about with Sammy and Sammy and Cody?
Just that Sammy should win. That's all.
Okay, I think we both may have made our points, and we're going to talk plenty about this heading into Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, y'all. So like, this is just getting started. Like this debate's going to get even stronger, I'm sure, because depending on where they're going and the crowd reactions the next few weeks, who knows, right? So, now I'm going to set the stage here. I'm just going to. So, are you good with transition now?
So.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Jensen's other spotlight for the week. We got a comment on a show last week. I'm gonna pull. I have it right here. There we go.
We're gonna take it off. I was gonna read it. I'm gonna read this out verbatim.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, you can put it on the screen, I guess, if you want. But I was just gonna read it.
Put it on the screen.
I was gonna read it with the graphic up.
Okay. I'll put the graphic up. All right, here we go.
Okay.
All
right, guys. So. I need to
find the graphic. There it is.
There we go. All right, y'all. Time to address my enemies. I'm 34 years old, right? And I get that I'm not going to be into everything in the modern day, professional wrestling landscape, especially when it comes to WWE. It's a PG show. I completely understand that. That's why I rarely watch it. But Cody's back. I'm getting back invested. I watched the entire Royal Rumble pay-per-view or premium live event. And basically, that Bray Wyatt and Eli Drake, Eli Knight. I'm sorry. Eli Knight.
LA Knight.
Geez.
Yeah.
LA Knight. Yeah. Oh God. So annoying.
No.
Hey, I'll take him over Bray. I'll keep it real. I'll take him over Bray. That Mountain Dew Pitch Black match was the stupidest bullshit I think I've ever seen in wrestling. And now keep in mind, when I got into wrestling when I was 6 years old in like the early 90s, I loved the Dungeon of Doom, the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan and all his cronies and stuff trying to take out Hulkamania. But I was 6, so once again, if I'm not talking to you, if you're like 10 years old or younger when I'm saying these things, but if you're like an adult and you are defending this Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy stuff, I just don't know what to tell you. The end of that was hilarious when Uncle Howdy jumped off that platform and just like missed completely. And then like the little explosion went off. And then there was like grown versions of the puppets, like watching from above. And I literally just started laughing out loud. Like I was watching with friends and I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing to tell people I like wrestling if they watch this and they think this is what I'm talking about when I say like, oh, I like pro wrestling. Now that all said, it was so stupid. If this is the mind of Bray Wyatt, then Vince McMahon was right. I'm sorry. As far as I think the original Wyatt family stuff was amazing. The backwoods cult leader Hawaiian t-shirt Bray Wyatt with Harper and Rowan. That was incredible stuff. But that was essentially Waylon Mercy repackaged. That was an idea that wasn't Bray's, that they redid, that they had tried before. Everything since then, if that's been the mind of Bray Wyatt, I think there's a very fine line between being a genius and being a moron. And I think what I'm seeing on television is the mind of a moron consistently, because I think this is some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen in pro wrestling. And that all said, the other week, I made fun of Bray Wyatt fans because I said, hey, everyone's getting real excited because Uncle Howdy might be Bo Dallas based on a cross earring and some other clues. And this has really triggered a lot of Bray Wyatt fans because they're really butthurt that people wouldn't be excited about Bo Dallas being the big payoff here. There was a comment under some of the things that I said. The comment was made by a user named Uncle Randy. So Uncle Randy, you gave yourself away before you even made the comment. I'm going to read this whole thing out loud. And it's a long comment, but I'm going to read it verbatim. So if I sound like I don't know how to say things, it isn't because I can't speak. It's because I'm saying it how it's spelled. I'm going to preface this by saying this was probably written by a child. So Uncle Randy, if you are a child, I'm not sitting here trying to dunk on a child. You could fast forward through this. You don't have to listen to this. If you are an adult, you need to hear this, unless you're an adult of like a child's mind, in which case I feel bad and I'm not attacking you but if you're like around my age or even close and you made this comment and you are a quote unquote like normal person, this is why I need to read this out. If you aren't, ignore everything I'm going to say, fast forward through this, and this does not apply to you if you are a child or somebody who needs help. Okay, so this is the comment. Who TF is Steven Jensen? Is he the lost ginger neckbeard brother of Sami Zayn? The lost brother of Charlie Ramone from Sammy's vlog, XD? And that's like the laughing face, the XD.
Maybe.
I'll address that real quick. Neckbeard, I'll accept that. I don't shave as often as I should. Because I work from home, so fuck it. Like, I don't, so I'll give him that. Ginger, I don't have red hair, but I can see how that with the lighting, I could see how it might look kind of red, but I do not have red hair. It's brown or brunette, whatever you want to call it. All right, comment continues. Steven Jokesen, Jokesen, nailed it. Steven Jokesen is a nobody. True. You're jealous of Bray. I get it. Probably. Bray Wyatt stands? Yeah, I accept that I'm a stan. You're envious of Bray because your personality is as dry as the Sahara Desert, LMAO.
That's mean.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it really hurt my feelings when he said that. Says he is the only captivating wrestler I've ever seen so far.
Factual.
The truth is, Steven Jokesen thinks that, quote, UFC is entertaining. Now, keep in mind, I didn't say anything about the UFC in this clip. I think you just saw the posters behind me in my office. So, like, I don't know where all this is about to come from, but this is the best rant I've ever heard on MMA because it just transitions pretty much from Bray to this. Ha ha. I respect MMA fighters not because of their toughness, but because of their dedication to body training, self-defense, discipline, and control.
Some of them.
But some MMA fighters are arrogant. That's the problem. MMA fighters' pride is their downfall. Yep. Just because MMA doesn't mean jack shit. Facts. Your MMA skills won't work on multiple people and a person who has a weapon. Definitely 10% not. Chances that MMA could work, but the reality is MMA is only for self-defense, protection, and escaping life-threatening situations.
Doesn't work against a guy diving off a platform.
I'd rather watch a soap opera spooky, silly Bray than watch UFC fighters knocking themselves out to prove a point. SMH.
Agreed.
All of you MMA douchebags always like to flex your skills because all you think is that no one will fight you. The more I see it, MMA fighters learn to fight just to bully their bully. Of course, you want to learn MMA because you want power to intimidate the people you hate. That's a fact of life.
Power slap. Oh, fact of life. Yeah, got him.
Yeah, he so you can go and take the graphic out.
Jensen, I gotta be honest with you.
You drinking one of those? Hey,
Cody, I didn't hear a word you said because I was drinking on this tasty Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
Yeah.
The Mountain Dew Pitch Black match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. One of the greatest matches we've ever seen in the history of this sport.
Embarrassing.
The man jumped off the platform and then fireworks went off, Jensen. It was glow in the dark street fight wrestling. Looking like a laser tag event.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't even touch on the match itself. All it was a black light, and Bray had drawn all over himself with a detective ink pen or whatever. And then like LA Knight was wielding a kendo stick with glow sticks in it. I mean, it's this is so stupid. Oh, by the way, I don't want to forget. This is an open.
Cody Rhodes approves of Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
I saw.
Steven Jensen.
Cody
Rhodes approved.
Yeah, he's also the face of the company now, so he kind of has to. He can't go up there on the podium and be like, "Yeah, this is mid." You know what I mean? Like, so
he can.
No,
Cody is a known liar.
Not if he doesn't want the title.
Liar.
No, not if he wants the title. If you want the title, you gotta endorse Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
This is really good, guys.
No, listen.
I downed an entire one of these, chugged it during the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So I want I want to make it clear. I rarely ever respond to comments. I usually just completely ignore them, let it slide. I actually just thumbs up the guy's comment from my personal account, so he knows that I saw it, and I just left it there.
Well, he definitely knows you saw it now. You read the whole damn thing on our show.
I'm gonna do you one better, Uncle Randy. If you are an adult, I will give you a platform. Get yourself a video camera. Get yourself a video camera. Record your argument. I'll air it on this show. I will give you a major platform right here on Fightful. You want to explain why you love Bray Wyatt so much?
What's happening?
Do it, and I'll air it. The only way I wouldn't do this is if you send this in and you're a kid, which case I'm not. This isn't about dunking on a kid, but the problem is there's a lot of adults who feel the way he does, because I see a lot of adult comments, and I feel pretty much any adult that defends Bray Wyatt, I just kind of in a nutshell feel like that comment kind of personifies a lot about how I feel about adult Bray Wyatt fans. So it sets a bad precedent. No, I agree.
very scared that like a bunch of people are gonna send in a video claiming to be Uncle Randy.
Well, where are they gonna send it? I guess at the end of the day, well, tweet it like that. That'll keep people accountable. If you tweet a video and you tag me in
on
it,
Twitter,
yeah. I'm not gonna like just open the floodgates. This is an open invitation for anyone who has a different opinion than me, that they get to go on the show and talk about it.
Here's Steven Jensen's address. Send him whatever you would like. Here's his email address. Here's his physical address. Show up to Steven Jensen's house. Prove that this MMA bullshit doesn't work. Scare him with your cosmic lighting, and you're setting people on fire, and you're jumping off of platforms
with grown adults in puppet costumes trying to scare people. So, but yeah, I mean, once again, if someone sent me a video and like they're clearly like off, I wouldn't exploit somebody that I feel like has a problem, but it's one of those things that it's like, I'll give some people an opportunity to put their money where their mouth is. Y'all hide behind comments. I'll let you put a face to it and fully explain why you feel so strongly about the way that you do. So go for it.
I don't know where we go from here.
That
was Steven Jensen's. That was Steven Jensen's other spotlight. You spent your other spotlight just burying
Uncle Randy
comments and threatening to fight fans.
I didn't fight it. I'm not threatening to fight anybody. I don't want to fight anyone. I'm offering an actual rebuttal. I just roasted this dude right here in front of however many people watch this. I'll give him an opportunity to respond.
My other spotlight, everybody, we might as well just get this out of the way now.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
NWA held a live episode of Powerrr on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Joel Pearl, who's in the chat, is a coward, and I asked him to do a review of this show for Overbooked, and he didn't do it. And now I'm going to talk about it very briefly because there ain't much to talk about. This wasn't good, man. This was some bad wrestling right here. Just bad wrestling going on this show. The best segment was Fodder and Angelina Love attacking everybody and beating down America's NWA's favorite power couple, and that's about it. Like, this wedding segment wasn't good. Sam Timo was there. The contract signing wasn't good. The wrestling wasn't great. The setup that they had looked like straight out of TNA Impact. Nobody wants me to add Joel Pearl. I'll send Joel Pearl in, but you know what?
The only problem with adding people is I have limited time, so that's the
we don't need Joel Pearl's comments on this. All right. It just.
I mean, I'll give a recap of this on the weekend, or I'll talk a little bit about it, but not much. So,
well, I don't have much more to add. All I can add is that they're back on YouTube. At least it's free. You're not paying $10 a month, or I think that's what it was. You're not paying $10 a month to watch this show anymore on Fight. So if you want to watch it, go for it. It's like an hour and a half. Honestly, you should probably find something better to do with your time. And
listen,
that's about it.
I'll give them this credit. At least they went for doing something live, because they like, I'll at least you got to give them the credit for that, because like MLW, we complain about it all the time. I'm still reading off MLW results from spoilers I read back in October on the Weekender. Like I'm going through and I'm catching up on these shows, and I'm like, I read about this in October of 2022, and it's just now airing for people to watch. It's insane.
Yeah.
NWA does it also. Don't get me wrong, with all their pre-tapes, but I do respect them for doing
but
it live.
Spoilers. Here's the thing with NWA is spoilers don't come out from that show. You actually don't know what happens because nobody sends in spoilers for those shows. So it's not like they're a month behind on stuff. At least there's that with NWA, and then they can edit it. They typically don't, but they can make it look a little bit better. This live show, I don't think did anything for them.
I mean, that's fair. I'm with you there. Well, and also, I mean, the quality of the product, that's obviously the biggest problem, right? I mean, if the wrestling is not good and the wrestlers that they're pushing, people aren't really behind. Yeah, it's tough. They're in a weird spot because they do the whole championship series thing, which unless you follow the product is like super confusing and convoluted. And they're heading into this pay-per-view, but it's weird because like, they air all these episodes of Powerrr and then they take this time off where they're just showing like this like video package type stuff on their YouTube channel. Then they come out with this live show, and then the next thing you know, they're going to be doing this pay-per-view. And I'm sorry, I don't see anyone really. The pay-per-view is going to be Cardona and Tyrus, right? Yeah. So I know people love Cardona, myself included, but like I don't think anything can be done to get people to really care about that pay-per-view and stuff. So it's just just is what it is for NWA. Just bad decision making, bad pushing the wrong people, bad booking for the most part, and the shows just haven't been very good. So what do you really expect, I guess?
Let's get into something that was actually good.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. It was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
AEW Dynamite last night. We had one title change and one title defense. The king and queen of television, Samoa Joe and Jade Cargill. Let's start with Jade Cargill. She is 50-0 in AEW. She is still the AEW Women's TBS champion. Jensen, this was your spotlight. What do you have to say about Jade Cargill and defeating Red Velvet for, I think, like the 4th time during her run?
Yeah, listen, I love Jade. I've been a big supporter of her pretty much since day one. And I've talked about it on this show. I was lucky enough to just run into her because we use the same local Walmart here in Atlanta. So like,
what?
I never told you that.
No.
Oh no, yeah, I've met her in person before because like she literally like there's like a big shopping center and like the Walmart is in the middle of it, and she gets like her I don't want to like dox people, but I know where she gets like her nails done and stuff because it's like right next to the places that I go in town. So like I've seen her literally just in person a couple times. I think she has like she has mutual friends that train with my brother at his gym and stuff. Like it's a small world, it's crazy. But like anyways, Jade, and she's at Hawks games all the time and stuff too. Like she's around Atlanta, but so anyway, the reason I even say that I've gotten to interact with her before, and she was super nice, and I'm really my dream is to be in that Walmart one day. Her action figure happens to be there. She happens to be there, and I get her to sign it. I think that'd be like the coolest thing ever. I already own her action figure, by the way, but I would buy another one to get her sign it. But the whole point here is when Jade first kind of like arrived on the scene, it was her real breakout was the Shaq tag team match with Cody and Red Velvet.
Breakout, that was her first match.
Right, but I mean, she came out of nowhere and was put in something really high profile. And it was supposed to be Brandy on the other side, if y'all remember, and it wound up being Red Velvet due to, was it injury or was she pregnant? I can't remember what the reason was, but I remember Brandy couldn't do the match anymore.
I think that's when Brandy became pregnant.
Yeah,
I could be
wrong. It was something like that. And I think that Jade's, so it was a couple things. One, it was full circle because Red Velvet being the opponent last night I thought made sense for number 50 because of her starting with Red Velvet. And then also I think Jade's really improved significantly in these 50 matches, and she's still not the best wrestler in the world, but she isn't green like she was when she first started. And I give her massive credit for coming up with new innovative ways to get people into Jaded and stuff. Like, she's clearly trying to do things to impress the fans. She isn't being stagnant and just doing the same old stuff over and over. So I really respect where she's at. And I respect it even more so because she had to do, like, if you're in the WWE system and you were in Jade's position, I'm not saying this is wrong, by the way. I'm just saying it's different trajectory. She would have probably been in the Performance Center learning for quite a while. And then if they thought enough of her, she'd get some shots on NXT Level Up. And she'd have to, like, really learn in front of a crowd and get reps in front of a crowd. And then hopefully she catches the right eye, winds up on NXT, does good enough there, and then maybe Raw and SmackDown. And we're talking about, like, a really long process before they're going to know whether or not they really want to go with her. And in AEW, none of that happened, where she went straight from not being known, no indie career or anything, to major match teaming with Shaq, to first TBS champion. And she's had to learn all of this live in front of live audiences and millions of viewers at home. So that's a lot of pressure for somebody who's literally learning on the job. And I think she's knocked it out of the park. There's been a couple little hiccups here and there, but hell, like, I have seen so many wrestlers come and go with the experience level or similar experience level to Jade and just completely fall on their faces in these kind of situations. And Jade, I got to give her a ton of credit. And I think it's been really, it's been a really good title run. I like that she still got that title. I think they need to find the right person to beat her for it. I think that person was probably going to be Chris Statlander, but Chris Statlander keeps getting hurt. So I don't know what their plan is for the successor to this title. They have some good options, but I think it's badass to see a woman like Jade get 50 wins in a row, 50-0. This is a cool win streak. It feels legitimate. And she hasn't got out there and beaten, like, the top women consistently either. Like, they've kept it smart to where eventually she'll make that jump up into, like, the Britt Bakers and Jamie Hayters and that kind of stuff for the title, but for the main title. But for right now, I think what they've done, I guess in a nutshell, I'm very impressed with Jade. I think she's done really, really well given the spot and the pressure that she's been in, and she continues to improve, which is literally all we can ask. And she's only going to keep getting better. And she looks like a star. You see her and you just, like, that's how I recognize her in Atlanta. You don't have to see her from the front. You just see, like, the hair and like the shoulder muscles from behind. You're like, oh shit, that's Jade. You know what I mean? Like, she just looks like a star. So, like, anyways, that's how I feel. I'm a massive fan, and I'm very happy for her to get 50-0.
Anime Otaku says, love Jade. I'm really ready for a new champion. I'm not ready for a new champion. I'm ready for just some type of, like, meaty storyline with her.
Sure.
They were doing something with Bow Wow, and that got dropped out of nowhere. Even Jade said she didn't know what happened. The Nyla Rose stuff was good. Like, look, stealing a title, it's a very tried trope in wrestling, but at least it was something with Jade. The baddie stuff, like, didn't hit with me because it felt a little thrown together in the first place. And then they were like Red Velvet, Kira, like they were never, like, viewed as a threat outside of Jade. It's like, okay, well, we kind of tolerate you and take you serious because Jade is around, but otherwise you aren't really there. And get very thrown together. Like, she was feuding with Red Velvet, and then she was friends with Red Velvet. Now they're feuding again. And that really wasn't for me. And otherwise on this title run, it's just kind of just people stepping up and being like, hey, I want to challenge you. And, like, all right, that's fine. But it never has felt like she's been in danger during this title run. And I think that's why it hasn't, like, fully hit with me. And this is not a knock on Jade at all, because the fact that, like you said, she started first match on television, big spot with teaming with Shaq against Cody and Red Velvet. That's a huge spot. She was introduced cold. She came out and confronted Cody. No one knew who she was. And it was empty arena on top of that. So, like, that wasn't going to help things, but, like, no one knew who she was. And you've seen the improvement from match 1 to last night. I love that you can just see how much confidence she has gained from match 1 to now, especially the different ways now she's learning to set up Jaded and everything. Like she knows she's just bigger and stronger than people, so she can just do different things and toss them around in different ways. And I do think it was a struggle for her at first because she was bigger and stronger than a lot of these women, and she didn't quite understand how to use that to her advantage. She had to understand how to really work the size that she has against these women, and it didn't always connect at first. Like the ring work, you can watch those early matches, it didn't always work. But slowly but surely, as she started working with better people, she got better in the ring. And it is a testament to her because she did start cold on television and she had to work television every week. She didn't have people mentioning it, but like she didn't have house show reps.
Right. Exactly.
She didn't get a chance to do live event stuff. We know she did training. She's talked about how she's trained with like Dustin and Bryan Danielson and everything. Big difference between training practice matches and then even just like a live event match where you're still working in front of 100, 200 people, whatever it might be. I mean, the AEW live events will draw better than that, but my point is on like just house show loops and things like that. She didn't have any of that. Every match you've seen of Jade because it's been on television. So nothing to do with her ability, how she's grown as a performer, how she's gained confidence in the ring, on the mic, in promos, all of that. Nothing wrong with that. My issue is largely just the title reign has felt like it's never felt threatened to me. It's never just hit of, oh, this is like a big time match for Jade. It's always just felt like, okay, here's a Jade title defense on Battle of the Belts that we just set up the week of, and here we go. And that's been that. I do hope they get her like an actual sustainable feud where she actually, even the Nyla thing, it never felt like Nyla was going to win that match. Nyla did not feel like the person to dethrone her. That's no knock on Nyla, who I think does good work. It just didn't feel like that person. I need somebody, feels like the Athena one's probably the closest, but by the time they even got to that match, which was like 5 minutes, like that match was short. Like that didn't feel like a threat either. Chi-Town's says she shouldn't be threatened. She's Jade. The title reign should feel threatened a little bit. Like Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. There's still been moments where I felt like, oh, Roman Reigns could lose this match. Like I've never had that sense of feeling with Jade Cargill on any of these matches. And I had not suspected Roman would lose any of these matches, but there have at least been moments and stories and challengers. So I'm like, oh, like this feels like maybe Roman will lose. Jade's just never felt like that. And I would like a little bit of that. Hey, that's just me. If you've enjoyed that Jade should just beat everybody and just run through everyone, fine. Then I would say face better competition. Like face the Britt Bakers, face the Jamie Hayters. I mean, Thunder Rosa is injured, but people like that, face them.
Mm-hmm. As Chi-Town Spurs mentions too, Red did get the visual pin on Jade last night. The crowd counted it, but I still never felt like she was going to win the match. To be fair, like no. But I get what he's saying, but I never. But here's the thing, I agree with you to a degree, but I also disagree because I'm fine with a title run like this that's just super dominant, and then someone's eventually just going to catch her. Like I don't necessarily need it to be. I mean, if it's higher level competition, that's going to make it a little more in doubt, anyways, right? Like if it's a Brit or a Saraya or something like that. But honestly, I think that eventually the win's going to go to either Statlander or Willow, or it'll be someone like that. Someone who can like really use it and can really use that TBS championship and really like springboard a new star for them that they really want to build as like one of their next big women's stars. And then you can move Jade onto the world title scene, of course. But yeah, I mean, once again, the fact that Jade's 50 matches in and, we're talking about her like this is a huge win for her, because that could have, she could have went out there, had a bad match with Shaq, and we never saw her again, and she's capitalized on every opportunity brought her way. And I like, even though she's a heel, when she, carries her daughter out after the match and stuff, and, it's just, she's relatable. She's likable. you can tell that she's just a star.
I think that maybe that's part of another disconnect with me is like, I actually want to like Jade Cargill. I do like Jade Cargill. It's not I want to. Like, I do like Jade Cargill. I listened to a lot of interviews with her. Her Brandon Phillips and her daughter were sitting like 2 rows in front of me. So if you saw where they were, they did the spot and everything. That I was right behind them right there. I love all of that stuff. But then she's presented as a heel, and so it like, do you want to cheer her or not? Like that's another just little disconnect for me. Nothing against Jade Cargill. Some of the presentation stuff and just the way the run has just been, here's matches, a lot of them just a little colder than I would prefer. It doesn't hit quite as much with me. As far as Jade goes, though, full money. Full, absolute 100% money.
Yes, absolutely. Love Jade. And someone, Money Mark in the chat said Red Velvet deserves her flowers too. Listen, I'm not the biggest Red Velvet fan, but I will give credit where it's due. She's definitely improved also, like definitely. So that's all I can ask for is improvement and just trying to get better. So someone wants a tour of my room. I'll eventually do a room tour of my office. I'm rearranging everything. It looks like a mess in here right now, but I'll eventually do some sort of action figure / autograph tour thing.
My AEW Spotlight, Jensen, is the king of television is back. Samoa Joe defeated Darby Allin to regain the AEW TNT Championship. This match was fantastic. It's the third match between them. And I said it after the first match, like Darby Allin is such a great opponent for Samoa Joe because Darby Allin doesn't give a fuck and will just be tossed around, tossed all over the place. I don't know how it looked on television. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it back, but live, when he picks him up on the steps and just like drops him like nothing, Darby looked like he was dead on that. That looked so scary. And then he, of course, continues and he throws himself through a table and he takes the bump on the exposed ring, the super muscle buster on the exposed ring and everything. The tacks with the hoodie tacks and stuff. Just Darby is just great at just making guys look like absolute monsters. And Samoa Joe is a guy you want to look like a monster. So Darby's reign was great. I love the story of he keeps wrestling every week. He takes all of this punishment. He goes to Japan, does a match over there, takes punishment there, comes back, wrestles again, keeps having these long, grueling matches where he's getting the shit kicked out of him. And then finally, you poke Samoa Joe too much and you do a violent match. You do a no DQ match. Samoa Joe is going to take out a lot of aggression and use what's afforded to him, and he's going to eventually beat you. Darby's reign was great. I would have been fine if it continued a little bit longer, but given the story they were telling of Darby continuing to put himself in this position, Joe beating him in this match made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm a huge Darby fan, so I wanted to see a longer run for him because I want him utilized more on the show. I think he's one of the, I don't want to say few, but he's definitely one of the standouts, I should say, of the quote unquote homegrown AEW talent, or even more specifically, the pillars. I think you have MJF, who's obviously become the world champion and super valuable and the top guy in the company, in my opinion. And then you have the next pillar that I think, obviously they're all doing great for themselves right now, but Sammy's kind of, he's got his thing going with the Jericho Appreciation Society and the things, brewing with Garcia currently, and Jungle Boy just announced that he's going for a singles championship. So I think some big things are coming for him. He announced it last night on the show in a backstage interview. Yeah, he said he's going to win singles gold this year. So, and I imagine that'll probably be going after the TNT title. I could see him versus Joe. That'd be really good. But my whole point is, I think Darby, outside of MJF, I think Darby has the most potential to be the world champion out of the homegrown or the pillars. So I want to see more out of him, but I also feel like Sting's retirement plan is in motion. And I'd imagine the immediate future is going to be more about Sting and Darby maybe winning the tag titles on Sting's way out or something like that. Like, I think it'll be more Sting and Darby tied together for the short term. And I don't know when Sting's planning to retire, but he's been talking about it in interviews recently. So there's a plan in place that he said that they know where they're going for his retirement. So it's got to be coming fairly soon. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Maybe they because also the thing with Darby having the TNT title, like you said, he got to bring it to Japan. Like, it looked really cool that he was like traveling the world with this AEW TNT title. But yeah, given the story, and once again, it's Samoa Joe. This isn't just some guy. Samoa Joe is always going to be one of the highest, most credible wrestlers out there. So him winning a match like this against Darby with a beat up Darby, I have no problem with it at all. I thought the match was awesome. I loved it. And once again, as long as it leads to Darby rebounding and doing something important again coming off of this, I'm fine with it. I do have my concerns about what happened after the match because, dude, I don't think the Wardlow thing's working, man. Like, I would not have gone back to Wardlow and Joe right now, personally. So we'll see how that goes. Now, there's a lot of Wardlow fans. I'm not sitting here and hating on the guy, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel. Sorry, what's that?
You're not a Wardho.
Wardho, dude. I was there live for his first match against Cody in that steel cage. I like Wardlow, but there's just something off about it. I can't put my finger on it. It's like there.
He's way colder. Like, coming out of the MJF stuff, like, he was super hot, and then he won the TNT title, and he had to cut that promo of like, it's still Wardlow's world. Like, it seemed like they knew things were cold during that run, and then they took the title off of him, and then he got his hair cut, and then he was back last night. I'm kind of in agreement. I don't know where Wardlow is right now. I mean, he's gonna feud with Joe, but doesn't feel like he should win that feud. We'll see,
agree.
but he definitely feels very cold.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have Wardlow beat Joe right now. Definitely not. In fact, I'd probably try to figure out a way of turning Wardlow heel again or something. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what you do with him, because the MJF thing was such a long story that did eventually pay off with him beating him, and he destroyed him. But now we're in a world where MJF is the world champion because of so many things happening since then. And Wardlow was the TNT champion. I don't think he had a particularly good run with the title. And I don't think it's a good idea to put the title back on him and just keep going back to like trying to make fetch a thing with Wardlow. I don't know where he's in a tough spot. They've really kind of booked him into a corner, kind of pigeonholed him, because you can't just be another guy. And, you made him such like a dominant powerhouse type of wrestler also, that it's just a weird spot to be in. Honestly, I'd probably figure out a way to turn him heel again if I was them personally. But I know it was like a 3-year babyface turn to make him a babyface in the first place. So I think we're both on the same page. I mean, I would definitely have Samoa Joe beat Wardlow in this feud and keep the title. So,
is there a faction that needs someone like Wardlow? The Firm has Big Bill, so I feel like Wardlow seems a little redundant there.
Yeah.
What if you align him with Jungle Hook? War Jungle Hook.
No. I mean, you have like him and FTR, like with like they're kind of
Dark Order. Chi-Town says Dark Order.
Oh,
imagine Wardlow as Dark Order.
Dude, he can be like the new 10. Put a mask on him. Beefcake.
I don't know if that one's gonna work. That'd be tremendous to see if he could pull it off though.
Yeah. So, but yeah, to put it to put a little bow on it, I would say, Darby and Joe ruled. I love that match. Good for Joe to win the title back. I'm fine with it as long as Darby's got something big coming out of it. And not looking forward to Wardlow and Joe, but hopefully Joe, wins that one. So,
Cody, Jake Hager. Cody says make him a sports entertainer. And Jake Hager's kind of got the heater role filled for the Jericho Appreciation Society. I guess Wardlow would show up more often than Hager
just
does.
Team them. Wardlow and Hager as a tag team.
What's Starks? I realize this is a baby face, but Starks and Andretti, and use the big guy on their side, right?
I guess. I guess.
He looked like Wardlow with this haircut looks a little bit like Ricky Starks.
Yeah, he looks a lot more generic with the haircut.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's not hitting for me. The ponytail, I'm with you. Like, it gave him a je ne sais quoi. Now it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something off about it. And the fans, even like you were there live when he came out.
Oh, dude,
feel like
I didn't know. So, like, I saw the video screen and I didn't know if his music played off cue, but like the video screen, it's the green, like forest, whatever thing. And I'm looking, I'm like, who the fuck is coming out right now? I didn't know who it was. And then finally, when I heard the war, I was like, oh, okay. But I didn't recognize the music immediately. I didn't recognize the video screen or anything. And then he finally came out. I was like, oh, all right, cool. Wardlow. But like, it's cold. Wardlow's just a little cold.
Yeah.
I can heat him up, put him in the microwave a little bit. Be cool. Yeah, give him a neck tattoo. That's what we need.
Yeah. You got to put him in the air fryer if you really want to make it good.
I'm going to give a big motherfucking shout out.
Sonic enthusiast Nick Cage with people got so mad about that. I didn't get it.
A lot of people loved it though. I didn't look at a lot of the comments, but I saw some people were like, "Oh, what, slow news day," and it's like, have you not come to expect these kind of shenanigans from Fightful at this point? Like,
I posted it at Tuesday at 8 a.m. expecting like, yeah, I don't expect a bunch of news at Tuesday at 8 a.m. in the morning. Like, so I'm going to schedule this Nick Gage like Sonic thing.
It's awesome.
It's an exclusive. Even Sean was like, we can feature Kota Ibushi. This is a great tie-in. I'm professional. He's like, feature Kota Ibushi, on the front page, him returning to the ring and debuting at GCW. If we're gonna feature Nick Gage like Sonic, it's like Nick Gage like Sonic is an exclusive. Kota Ibushi, that was announced by GCW. You can't get these Nick Gage exclusives anywhere else, but here on the Spotlight. Yes. Kota Ibushi is back. He's returning to the ring. He's debuting at GCW. He's going to face Speedball Mike Bailey at Bloodsport. He's going to be part of Joey Janela's Spring Break. It's going to be great to see Kota Ibushi back in wrestling and just being a freelancer now. You don't know where Kota Ibushi is going to show up. He's going to show up at some random fucking shows, WrestleMania weekend. It's going to be fantastic. Kaiju Big Battle, get your shit together. Bring the monsters. Bring the dinosaurs. Bring them all out there because Kota Ibushi will be there if you run a show.
Yes. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm very excited to see him in Game Changer Wrestling. Also, shout out, GCW is coming back to Atlanta on 4/21. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to go to that show at Center Stage here in Atlanta. So if you're in the area, come by the show and say what's up. I will be there. Hopefully Cassidy Haynes is there too. Usually makes the GCW shows in Atlanta. Whoops, sorry about that. Just keep my
what the hell are you doing?
Kick my whole setup on accident. But yeah, seeing that was a huge announcement that Ibushi is going to be in GCW. The Bloodsport match with Mike Bailey is going to be insane. Cool. I love that video that Speedball put on social media of him. It was like just a watermelon that said Ibushi on it. He smashed it.
Gallagher that shit.
You did, yes. Wow, yeah, we're old. There's a lot of people that aren't going to get that reference. We got to wear a poncho in the front row. Yeah, I don't know who's going to wrestle at Spring Break, but I'd imagine it's going to be something crazy.
Probably Janela. I legitimately just think he's going to face Janela.
Probably.
It'd be dope if it was like Nick Wayne, but I feel like it's going to be Janela. And look, no, that's no knock. Joey Janela should go out there, get that match, do it, because you don't know when you're going to be able to wrestle Kota Ibushi. But it's Janela's show, so go do that shit. But yeah, that's who I imagine he'll end up wrestling.
Maybe he's only in the clusterfuck. That'd be pretty funny.
Oh, dude, he just comes out. He does the Lesnar shit in the clusterfuck and just kicks everybody in the head and tosses them out. Just tosses a bunch of suplexes, whatever you got to do. Just Kota Ibushi going crazy. Be fantastic.
Kota Ibushi, Nick Gage for the title, maybe.
Oh, man. Kota Ibushi's an insane man. He'll do that shit.
That'd be crazy.
It's great. It's great that he's back. It's great that his shoulder is healed, and it seems like because I remember watching him and Okada live, and when he goes for the I can't think of the Phoenix Splash. When he goes for this Phoenix Splash and busts his arm, and just like you see it, because when he hits it, you see it immediately of like his shoulders fucked. I was like, oh, that doesn't look good at all. And he wants to continue, and the match just has to stop. And then everything that happened with him in New Japan throughout last year, it's good that he's free. It's good that he's going to be able to do what he wants. And, he's gonna do this independent run. And I would imagine he'll be appearing on AEW television at some point this year.
Yeah. Yeah. A bite from Indeed mentions Blake Christian versus Ibushi. That'd be another really good one. There's a lot of really good matchups for Ibushi. A lot of fresh matchups we've never seen before here in the States. So, yeah, it's going to be badass. And like you said, it definitely opens it up for just random indie appearances. I can see him popping up in like Defy and like some of the bigger indie promotions and stuff while he's here. And obviously AEW is like, that's the big question mark, is how long before he pops up.
NWA. Going to show up at NWA.
Yeah, that's one that I can pretty confidently say won't happen.
Kota Ibushi, Tyrus. Could you imagine like the difference, the wrestling spectrum that is?
Imagine Ibushi getting a 5-star match out of Tyrus. Him just going out there and just flying all over the place. Tyrus barely has to move, and Ibushi just basically wrestles a blow-up doll out there.
He'd bump around like crazy. Yeah, he'd make Tyrus look like $1 million, honestly.
Yeah.
He could do it. Kota Ibushi's that good, man. People forget just how good Kota Ibushi is, because it's been over a year since we've seen him in the ring, and so much has happened over that year. But he was legitimately one of my favorite performers to watch before his injury, because I like people who throw just a lot of good strong kicks to the head. Love that. Just willing to do anything, willing to go out there, bump around, not worry about his neck. The matches against Naito, where they were just like, yeah, fuck it, just drop me on my head and neck, and we'll worry about the consequences later. Probably not the best style to go with, but Bushi didn't care. That's just a dude who does not give a fuck.
Honestly, probably the dream match for me, outside of the obvious like AEW stuff that you could do with Kenny and the Bucks and all that, would be, imagine if GCW, and I don't know what their schedule look like and stuff. I don't know if it's even possible, but if they could get in GCW, if they could book Kota Ibushi versus Vikingo, that's the match. Yeah. Yeah, that's the match.
I'm looking forward to Kota Ibushi's run. The fact that it's starting with Speedball as well in a blood sports style match.
Well, that's my other like dream match would be Speedball, and that's already announced. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
and it's going to be different with it being blood sport, but I'd imagine that they'll probably run it back in a like a regular match at some point in the future too. But
Impact, Kota's just going to show up to the Impact Zone and just face Speedball on just a random Thursday night.
That'd be wild.
Jensen, your indie spotlight is Lio Rush and Dustin Thomas from Wrestling Open last week. Why did this match stick out to you?
Hold on just a second.
Sorry, it was Dustin Waller.
Yeah, So the reason it stuck out, so this was from Wrestling Open episode 56, which just aired this past week. The main reason, honestly, was because of Dustin Waller, because he's a guy we haven't really talked about on the show, but a guy I talk about fairly often on the Weekender. A really good talent, and so currently he is the Blitzkrieg Pro Tag Team Champion with Kylan King. They have a tag team called the Miracle Generation, and they're also the Eliminator Cup Tag Team Champions currently. The two of them. So they're a really solid tag team. And I just think that Lio Rush and Dustin Waller had a really good match at Wrestling Open that people should seek out. It's available on IWTV. You can use code Fight Talk. Appreciate when you use that code. Lio wound up winning. It was a 20-minute time limit match, and Lio wound up winning it with in 19 minutes and 20 seconds or whatever. It came down to within the last minute. And Lio got the win, hit a nice, I believe it was a Spanish fly right into his top rope frog splash that always looks so great. But that's honestly the reason I wanted to highlight the match, was mainly just so people would go out and watch it. It was a really good, about 20-minute long match. And I think for people who haven't seen Dustin Waller or haven't seen the Miracle Generation, more people need to see him and see how good he is and how good he's gotten. And once again, he's a guy I talk about on the Weekender fairly often through my results. And I just thought this week was a good opportunity to kind of spotlight someone we haven't talked about before, who had a really good match against one of the best in-ring workers in the world in Lio Rush. So check it out.
It's always great to see Lio Rush in the ring. I know he's kind of in and out, whether it's injuries or retirement, whatever it might be. But Lio Rush, when he's in the ring, is still a top tier performer. And yeah, I wasn't super familiar with Dustin Waller coming into this match, but his performance definitely stood out. Like, if you can hang with Lio Rush, that says something. I love the sense of urgency, the closing stretch for this match, because there was the time limit and everything, and it just great closing sequence to this, and it flew by. Everyone knows I like my matches in that 12 to 18 minute range. When they were like 5 minutes have passed, I'm like, huh? 5 minutes is that? Like, it completely flew by. Dustin Waller is definitely a guy that, if you have not checked out, go seek out some of his stuff. And Lio Rush, and the closing to this was to set up Lio against Alec Price.
Yeah.
That was on Beyond Might Snow on Saturday night, I believe. This Wrestling Open aired on Thursday. You can watch the Waller and Rush match on IWTV if you would like to check out the match. Brent's IWTV, use the code Fight Talk. You can also watch Alec Price against Lio Rush from Beyond Might Snow as well. Yeah. So you can check that out. Yeah. But yeah, Dustin Waller is the guy who, if you have not seen, I certainly need to check out more of him as well. Go check out his stuff, because this match was fantastic.
Yeah, a match that I'd recommend that was recent, that just happened at the end of the year. And I think we actually talked about the other half of this match on that week's Spotlight, I believe. But I would recommend y'all check out the whole IWTV territory tag team tournament that happened to crown the IWTV tag team title, like the first tag team titles for IWTV. The tournament came down to the finals of Dominic Garrini and Kevin Koo, Violence is Forever. They beat the Miracle Generation of Colin King and Dustin Waller in the finals of that. So if you want to know more about Miracle Generation and Dustin Waller, I would recommend watching that whole IWTV tag tournament that happened. It was over like the span of 2 days. And even more specifically, watch the main event where VIF beats Miracle Generation to become the first IWTV territory tag team champion. So that'd be just a good match recommendation. But of course, you can always jump on like cagematch.com or something, and so much of his stuff is available on IWTV and these other streaming platforms that, if you want to become familiar with Dustin Waller, he's got a lot of matches out there you can check out.
You can also check out Indeed on Fightful Overbooked every Thursday with Mike and Righteous Reg. They will be highlighting some of the top matches from independent wrestling over the week and have interviews with independent wrestlers as well. And that premieres today on FightfulOverbooked.com. And it sounds like Mike and Reg are going to talk about Waller and Lio Rush from this past week as well. So go check that out. It's kind of works as a companion show to this show, since we like to spotlight the independent wrestling. Jensen, let them know where they can find you at, because I know you got to run.
Yes, real quick, Brent M, if you want to put his chat up on the screen, you can watch the Waller Rush match on independentwrestling.tv or iwtv.live. It's the same website, just two different ways of getting there. If you've never used the platform before, if you put the code Fight Talk in there, FIGHT TALK, all is one word with no spaces, it's $9.99 a month for the platform, but you get like 7,000 shows on there. I mean, it's like there's so much stuff available. And that code lets the platform know that I referred you, and it just helps me out to, it helps me when the platform knows that I'm sending you that way. So I'd appreciate if you use that code, but even if you don't, I recommend checking out IWTV, and especially if you want to see that match specifically, you'll get a whole month worth of wrestling for $10, and you can watch a ton of companies, a ton of wrestlers. There's a ton of stuff over there. As far as stuff I've got, you can follow me on Twitter at FightTalk_, FIGHT_TALK_. You can listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. That's every Sunday at FightfulSelect.com, covering the world of independent professional wrestling. But I throw some other stuff in there too, like NXT Level Up and BTE and some other stuff. So please check that out. That's $5 a month, and you get that along with Sean's news and all the other podcasts we got on there now and all that. I've been doing the Weekender for over 4 years now. I strongly believe that if you want to learn more about independent wrestling or get in on knowing about wrestlers that, before they really blow up, most of the guys that we were talking about 4 years ago are on television now. So just for whatever that's worth, if you want to be in the loop kind of before most other people, or just be in the loop and on the indie scene in general and just know more about it, I'd highly recommend the Weekender podcast over on FightfulSelect.com. And I hope y'all enjoy this interview you're about to hear with John Morrison, aka Johnny Spotlight, as well as Dad, aka Nathan Barnett. And I loved these interviews. I was on a high after we recorded these. I was walking around my apartment pacing around. I was like, man, that was so good. And I feel like we're gonna get Johnny again sometime soon because he had limited time, but it sounded like he wanted to come back. So and it might lead to us maybe getting another humongous interview that I've really wanted, which I won't talk about too much, but there's another guy who it sounds like he can get us in contact with that would be a massive interview for us. So anyways, enjoy the interview with John Hennigan, aka Johnny Spotlight, as well as Dad right here on the show. And I will be back next week. Next week's show is going to be early again, y'all. It's going to be 8:30, right, Jeremy? You needed 8:30 next week. So we're going to do 8:30 a.m. Eastern next week. I might even run the show long. I'm taking the whole day off work that day. So I'm gonna do the show that morning. We'll have a good time. If it runs long, it runs long. I don't have a hard out that day. And then that night I'm going to the Hawks game. So I took the day off and just gonna have a good time talking about wrestling in the morning and going to the Hawks game at night.
Nice.
I'm gonna go clock in for the shoot job. Good seeing you, Jeremy. Good seeing everyone in the chat. Happy Thursday. Go Cody Rhodes, baby.
That he ends with "Go Cody Rhodes." All right, everybody. Let's get to our interview with the great Dad and the great John Morrison, aka Johnny Spotlight, for this particular episode. We talk about a lot of things, particularly Creators Clash 2 that will be coming up in April. Dad fights a creator called AB, and John Hennigan, Johnny Spotlight, will be fighting Harley from Epic Mealtime. So we talk about their training, how those fights came together, everything going in the fight, a little bit of wrestling in this one, but we did have a little limited time with John Morrison. So we wanted to make sure we promoted Creators Clash 2 because that's what they were on there for. And then we had a great conversation with Dad talking about he had a guest appearance on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So talk about that. He shares some Danny DeVito stories. Everybody's got to be interested in Danny DeVito's stories, one of the greatest of all time. Danny DeVito talking about being a gravedigger, building like a portable Nintendo 64, which is legitimately a thing. So everyone can check out Dad. All the links are below that everyone can see this stuff, can view what they got going on. So here we go, everybody in the Creator Spotlight, John Morrison and Dad.
Welcome to the Creator Spotlight, the interview portion of the Spotlight here on Fightful. I am Steven Jensen, as always, with Jeremy Lambert, and we have two guests today, as you can see. One is a returning guest. He is the best boxer in the universes, and he is also the man with the fastest knockout in YouTube boxing history. He is Nathan Barnett or Dadbot, however you want to say it. The man himself, Dad, is back, and he's brought a friend who y'all might know from the world of professional wrestling. Fightful being pretty well known in the wrestling space. It's very cool to have this guy here. We have a man who I've known since Tough Enough 3, a big fan from back in the day, a dude who I followed a long time, a lot of titles, a lot of last names, and he's going to be competing, I should say, with Dad in separate fights for Creator Clash 2. We have John Hennigan, today known as Johnny Spotlight. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you very much for joining us.
Great to be here. First off, me and Dad have one thing in common when it comes to boxing. We're both undefeated.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Man, so Johnny, I want to ask.
We were both pro wrestlers before we were YouTube boxers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we both cut our teeth in the wrestling business, and now we've evolved.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to this because John, I'm sure you've answered a lot of the same questions throughout your career, and I want to talk more about Creator Clash right now because that's coming up.
Oh, let's do Creator Clash.
Yeah, and
you're going to be me for the other answers.
Yes, exactly. You're going to be fighting Harley from Epic Mealtime, a guy who I'm a longtime fan of as well. I like both of you guys a lot. I know him from the OG YouTube days. I still listen to him on the PK podcast when he appears. He's a big dude, but I'm just going to keep it real. You're the most athletic dude that we've seen in this YouTube boxing space by far, in my opinion.
how did this even come together? Because he's a big guy. I'm sure it's hard to find him opponents. So how did this all happen? And I know you have the relationship with Dad. I saw you Creator Clash 1. So how did this come together for you?
I think everything you just said is kind of exactly how it happened.
Okay.
It is hard to find an opponent for Harley. And I met iDubbbz and everybody at Creator Clash 1 when I was in Dad's corner. And it was so like electric, and I was so pumped up that I think that everyone could tell that I was really excited about boxing in the event. And I got a call from Ian and Anissa basically a little while ago, and they asked me if I would consider fighting. I said, yeah. And then they said, would you consider like fighting Harley? And I said, actually, like, I only know like 2 people closely. I know him and I know Nathan. So I'd rather fight someone that's not my friend. Then he took the fight. So they texted me back and said, Harley said he would fight you. And then I was like, well, I guess I'll fight him. And then I thought about it and realized, you know, in the world of pro wrestling, I don't hit anyone harder than I hit my friends, really. You know, like I've knocked Sheamus's teeth out before, and we laughed about it the next day. And when I started thinking of it along those lines, okay, like we're just going to punch each other until one of us can't stand up anymore. And I hope he's still my friend after that.
So Harley from Epic Mealtime, and Epic Mealtime was huge when I was in like college, and all the stuff they would do that are now like actual like food, like restaurants just make this food. And it was before it became a big kind of through Epic Mealtime. So I got to ask, when it comes to like your type of food, and you're in great shape, do you have like a cheat meal? Like, have you seen some of the stuff that he's eaten and you're like, oh, how do you put this in your body? Like, what are you expecting from him showing up with all this stuff?
Tell me if you guys agree with this. Like, so he's been eating what, like 25, 30,000 calorie meals for like 15, 20 years. Now he wants to fight me. I think he's got a death wish. He's trying to kill himself, basically.
So that's what I was getting at is like, how do you think he's going to show up after all this food he's eaten throughout his lifetime? And now he's going to get in there with a top tier professional athlete in the world of professional wrestling. And he's going to try to punch you in the face, and you're going to punch him back.
Back on you guys. Do you think because of all that food, his gut will be stronger or weaker?
Oh, I think if you give him like one shot, he's gonna feel that hamburger he had in like 2012. The hamburger with, I'm sure it had like bourbon and who knows what else was in it.
Bacon, yeah, bacon on everything.
Definitely
bacon.
Bacon
Those videos, absolutely. Hey, now I will give Harley credit. He did compete at the first Creator Clash. He did very well against Aaron from Game Grumps. He has gotten a lot better shape, so I will give him credit there. Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
Been seeing him on Instagram. He is taking this very seriously. He looks like he's not only just lost weight, but changed his body composition, which takes a lot of hard work. Like, he's got some abs that are peeking through, which is great for him. You know, like, he's got such a great story. I wish he had a different opponent, because his story is just not going to have a happy ending.
Technically, he has less padding now too, because like when you are overweight, it is physically padding. And now if he's like thinner, it's just you can get right to his kidney faster.
Yeah, and think about it. In his prime, like, if he fell into a river, he would have had his own flotation device, kind of just that layer. And it's like he had his own protective boxing gear, like Nathan said, and now there's just ribs there. Ah, poor guy.
Where have you been training for this, Johnny? Or have you and Dad been training together? Are y'all close to each other IRL as well?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We train together whenever Dad's in town. He's kind of been.
I live in town, USA, which is an undisclosed location, possibly underground. But I do go to El Angeles as often as possible. And John and I have trained with his coach, Josh Barnett, and a few times at LAKO, a boxing gym in LA. But my coach is up in Portland, Oregon, and I do my extensive camps with him. But John.
I've been excited to get up there at some point during fight camp, because Nathan's coach, who's also named Josh.
Every coach in the world, every boxing coach is Josh and Mike. Like,
Josh and Mike are all the boxing coaches' names.
Josh, my coach is Conquest Boxing. He's you can see what he did to me in the ring. I was a legit maniac, and he made me that way. And I'll never not train with him. He's the best. So John's going to come up at some point, and we're going to do some grueling, intense training coming up.
And then Johnny, you were. Oh, sorry. How's the training with Josh Barnett been going?
When I asked Josh to train me, he said this. He's like, "So you're going to enter the world of shoot fighting, huh? You know, boxing is definitely your worst thing." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I know. I've never boxed. I'm not a boxer. I've done almost every other martial art. I've just never boxed." And then I've spent 20 years doing pro wrestling, which is not exactly boxing or MMA or Muay Thai or any of that. It's just a simulation of violence, which I've come to enjoy quite a bit.
And then, of course, you mix in the parkour. I've even seen you. I saw you wrestle like a Jack Russell Terrier in a movie once. I mean, I've seen you do a whole lot of stuff.
I beat that dog, by the way.
You did. Yeah. Nice.
I was going to ask how long you've been boxing, because we've seen you in Bloodsport. We've seen Johnny Bloodsport. Like, have you been boxing specifically just for this match? I assume the training is ramped up, but like, how long have you kind of been just boxing training in general?
Oh my God, like 5-6 weeks.
Well, John, last year for Critical Clash, I went over to John's house and he had mitts, and I hit mitts with him when I was training for my fight. So John has dabbled a little bit, but I don't know how seriously you've done it.
The reason I have mitts and like the reason I like know how to punch is basically it's one of the things that is super essential, obviously, for wrestling, but stunt work. And I've done a lot of stunt work and stunt choreo. And to master stunt work, basically, there's boxing footwork, there's Muay Thai footwork, there's sport karate footwork, martial arts tricking footwork, and there's specific stunt footwork. And depending on the style of fighting you're doing, the footwork combination, you just need to like know how to punch and what I was doing. So this has actually been really fun because I started wrestling in high school, college. I was going to be an Olympic wrestler, so I thought, until I wrestled 1 year D1 at UC Davis and realized I was not nearly as good as I was in high school. And
I wrestled in high school. I didn't know you wrestled in high school.
Yeah,
I had a very successful, in my opinion, wrestling career. It was 2 years, and then there was a tournament where I wrestled the football team, who absolutely hated me because I was the freak of school. Major harassment in my high school career. And then I wrestled one of the football players that all hated me. And this is a little bit of a rant here, but I had long Kurt Cobain hair at the time. I put it in pigtails, and I had rainbow socks I pulled up to my knees. This is mid-90s. Oh, no. And I wanted to look like the person they disliked the most while I destroyed this football player. And I killed this kid. Like I got 3 points on him, and then I pinned him, and I like wiped the floor with this guy. And I think they're all just super ticked and shocked. So I started from amateur wrestling as well.
You're a pro wrestler at heart. That's so pro wrestling.
Oh, 100%.
I love that.
I love wrestling. Wrestling. I would like to honestly parlay this into some more wrestling shows, like the boxing thing, because the character and like the trash talk, and then the physicality and stunt work. Like I've done stunts my whole life and gymnastics and stuff. So I feel like this is just the attention that will then get me to where I really want to be, and talking trash in a ring, being someone's manager or something.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know when we're going to see Dad and Johnny Elite back on my television, because that was the best part of Dark.
Let's DM Tony.
Oh yeah, AEW. That's right.
Yeah.
Because we had a good thing going there, but I think now that we've like put it in the pot and it's been simmering this whole time, we're gonna have a wonderful souffle of wrestling. Is that word?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Johnny, I want to ask you because sorry, go ahead.
We're gonna feed it to Harley with our fists.
I was say the name bit is the best thing in wrestling. The fact that you just, and you're Johnny YouTube Boxer for this, you're Johnny Spotlight here today. But the name thing is tremendous, and the wife was very adamant. Like, tell him it's the best thing going in wrestling today. So I'm now telling you that she absolutely loves it.
For a second, I thought you meant my wife, and realized no, she
does she not like it? Does she like, no? Why do you keep changing your name? You're gonna ruin
she doesn't mind
SEO
it,
searches.
but she would never. She worries about me getting too many compliments because my ego is, there's only a room in the house for 2 people, and my ego is take up the whole living room. If it gets any bigger.
John, I want to ask you, because I know we got limited time. How has the cardio aspect been for you? Because I know obviously you're a guy who's in really, really good shape, but like boxing is different. But I was just thinking off the top of my head, just on paper, like Harley, I think is gonna have a hard time if it gets to deep water. I think it's something where he's gonna have to, if he has any success, it's gonna be early against you. But how has the cardio been in boxing versus everything else that you do?
Cardio is my favorite thing to do. I hate cardio. Everyone hates cardio. Cardio sucks. Like the sweet science, so it's called, is really fun. Cardio is an essential tool in order to be able to use your mind while you're fighting. This is a different kind of cardio than I've had to use for professional wrestling. It reminds me of collegiate wrestling, and it sucks. But it's definitely one of those things where, I mean, me and Nathan are in the same boat. Both of us are hurting our knees and wrists and elbows a little bit every day, and then doing something cardio that we don't love every day, just so that we can teach Harley and AB the chicken dance.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys know what that means, but
I mean, I know the actual chicken dance of da 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 da, like that whole thing, but
Richard
I feel
Lambert
like
on ice. That's what, when you lose your legs in a boxing match.
Yes,
Google
that's what I thought you were getting at.
When guys get knocked out on their feet and they're trying to stay up and they're just
yeah. There you
the
go.
stanky leg as well. Have them doing the stanky leg out there.
Yeah.
John, we know you got to run. So go ahead. Let everyone know where they can find you at. Anything you want to plug, promote, get out there.
Or anything you want to say to Harley directly right here, because there's a good chance Harley will see this.
Oh, really? Harley? God, man. All right. Harley, first of all, you got a death wish, like I said. You've been eating 20,000 calorie meals for 15 years. Now you're going to fight the Mayor Slamtown Johnny YouTube boxer. I'm going to put you to sleep. You're going to wake up dead if you're lucky. You can follow me on Twitter at The Real Morrison, on Instagram at John Hennigan, my shoot name, or on Facebook, follow John Morrison. And I've got one more thing to show Harley. These custom gloves.
This will be the coolest thing in his room since we didn't get a chance to ask that.
Perfect.
Because these are specifically made
those are
for
sweet.
Harley.
Oh,
I know he
man.
loves bacon. So I was thinking it might take some of the sting out of him getting knocked out if it's by cheeseburgers, his favorite.
He'll eat those all day too. Like that. That's perfect. That's perfect. He's gonna sit there. He's gonna think it's an actual sandwich. He's gonna be like, "Oh,
he's gonna eat them until he falls asleep."
Yeah, exactly. That's tremendous. Johnny Spotlight, John Hennigan, John Morrison, Johnny Elite, Johnny Bloodsport, Johnny YouTube Boxer. However you know him. We appreciate you joining us on the show today, man.
Thanks for having me, Nathan. Thanks for setting this up. Yes. Hit me up. I'd love to talk more crap about Harley anytime in the future.
Dude, I would love to have you. I love the YouTube boxing scene, so I will take you up on that. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we can talk crap about way more people with more time.
Oh yes, I love it. Thank you.
KSI and Deji, we're coming for the two of us. We're coming.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Versus us two on the same card at Misfits.
Well, no, you don't have to do the same card now. Now Misfits is doing tag team fights. They're doing tag team boxing.
That's right.
It's breaking news here.
Yeah,
maybe the brothers tag team against me and John.
We would destroy them.
Let's go. Oh man, I'm so excited right now.
Oh my god. Yeah, let them know. Holy crap.
Hey, ma'am, are you listening? We're coming for your boys.
Yeah, son.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Burnett is waiting for me, and he's going to kill me if I'm late.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny. We appreciate it.
Dad, welcome back to the show, man. Sorry, we had to make sure we got all the Morrison questions out while we had him.
All good.
Dude, thank you so much for setting that up. And
oh, yeah. I figured because we're together all the time, and I was like, well, I'll probably be with John. And we were going to be together today, but then I had to film a couple things. So our day got split. But yeah, I was like, well, John and I are always training together. So I figured we just do it together since he is the legit wrestler,
yes.
More appropriate for this site.
And then we ask no wrestling questions. We're just going to ask all the wrestling questions now.
Yes. Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, Dad will also be competing Creator Clash 2, as we mentioned earlier. He'll be fighting AB, who y'all know from the H3H3 podcast, along with Ethan Klein over there. He's also known as Star Killer online.
Mm-hmm.
I love this fight for you. I'm really looking forward to it. We may try to get AB on to talk a little bit as well, because I saw him tweeting something about looking for some interviews to
I'm sure he'll be down.
So yeah, I'd like to get all perspectives on this if possible. But how are you feeling heading into this fight? Because I mean, I think everyone's really excited to see your return, but I think that comes along with some pressure as well, because you're known as the guy, the 22-second knockout guy. Yeah. And not only that, man, I'm sure you've talked about this ad nauseum, but for people who don't know, you went mega viral again recently because Joe Rogan talked about your fight on the podcast and showed it. So can you just talk about your feelings going into this fight, and then also just kind of, I mean, I'm sure you were getting blown up when the Rogan stuff happened.
Oh yeah, that was pretty wild. I mean, that was the thing that I was kind of dealing with since the fight. A lot of people have been taking my fight and loading it to Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and they're changing the title. They're putting like text on the screen that says "Father beats up son," "Dad beats up son," and they're all these people who are loading these are getting multiple millions of views.
Right.
I get tagged by a lot of people saying this is Nathan Barnett, that's Matt Watson. They're not family, they're not related. And then people will come over to my Instagram and be like, "Why did you beat up your son?" And I'm like, "He's not my son," because they're seeing not the full truth, and then they just see me tagged and they're confused. So it's kind of annoying because some people out there do think I beat up my son. I don't even have a kid. So, and also Matt is like 13 years younger than me. So I would have been like a teenager or 15 years younger or something like that. So anyway, it's kind of annoying. But then Joe Rogan definitely saw one of those Instagram videos that was titled that and didn't bother like looking into it. So I wasn't surprised because everyone was seeing those. It was at that point, it was just getting funny now. I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, and he's believing it. So I ended up getting like a video out of it for YouTube. So whatever. It's just the more people talk about this dad boxer, the better, because maybe they'll stumble onto my YouTube channel. The biggest problem I have is like no one ever tags me when they make these posts and these videos. And if I got tagged in every time one of my videos was taken or put somewhere else, I'd just have millions of followers. But like, since I've been on YouTube since 2005, it's happened my whole career with my dance videos, my like viral, like falling off building clips on like GIFs and stuff. And no one ever knows the guy in the video. So I'm always that guy. It's like, oh yeah, I've seen you dancing. I've seen you doing this weird Skittles thing. No one knows who I am because no one tags me. I don't care if people take my stuff. I just want them to tag me. So I was a little bit frustrated when that whole Joe Rogan thing happened, but then it kind of like made it funny in the end because people did start finding me and I got a video out of it. But to answer the question, I am feeling very confident. And it's very nice that a lot of people are hearing about me because I saw a lot of Reddit posts saying like I'm the most like talked about thing on Creator Clash because it was kind of like a big viral moment, and like the dad character is like more of a character than the other fighters, and I kind of like lean into it, so it's a little bit more interesting and in a weird way, you know, like everyone is interesting because everyone has their huge followings that they're all like, I feel I have to hustle hard and do the character and train super hard to have a super fast knockout because I'm less popular than everybody else. Like they all work super hard, got their followings, and now they can kind of relax and do this boxing thing. But I'm in the mindset of like, I need this to save my career to like get relevant again. And that sort of like made me a little bit relevant. And I'm hoping to do the same thing again this year. So I am feeling confident because I am working incredibly hard. I believe, based on what I know and what I've seen, that I'm working harder than AB. I haven't stopped training since August. I took the summer off after the last fight, started back up again in August, and I haven't stopped. And I've been really, really like training and practicing, and like I just fight differently now. I think differently. I notice things. I looked like a mess last time. So I'm hoping I win. I feel very confident, but at the same time, I have that, you know, the thought in my head of like, you never know, because you do never know what's going to happen. So,
and I remember the last time you were on here, you mentioned that you had planned to fight again in October. So I know that didn't happen, but I'm assuming that's why you've been training and in shape for so long. You were expecting to fight. You've been ready to go for a while.
I was hoping to get a fight in the fall, and it didn't happen because for a few reasons. I moved. I'm back down in LA now. I was in Portland before. It was just like my life was a bit chaotic. But I will be hopefully fighting more. There's a better chance I'll be fighting twice this year because now Mams Taylor from Misfits, KSI's manager, he's followed me and messaged me, and I met all those guys over there. I went to the last KSI fight with Belle Delphine, who will be in my corner this time.
I saw,
I'm kind of in that world now, and he said he wants to get me on a card. So I'm hoping maybe John and I can both get on a card like this summer or this fall over there. But yeah, I haven't stopped training, and I think it's been beneficial because I feel like a wrecking machine right now, honestly. So
How helpful has it been just training at the same time as John? We had John last time, did the AEW stuff with him, and you talked about your friendship with him, and now like you were preparing alongside him for a fight, and you'd see it all the time in like MMA, UFC fights of like when two guys from the same camp are training and they're fighting on the same card. It's very much an iron sharpens iron type of thing. So like how beneficial has it been? Like he is also, and he's a top tier athlete, as I mentioned, like he's also training for an actual fight, and he's not just like sparring and messing around with you.
Yeah, it's been great. I feel it's been beneficial for both of us because it's nice, especially when you know the person. Like I've known him for so long. It's different. So all these other guys, like I've just met, or I met them last year. So it's like I feel friendly with them. But John and I feels like a real friend. Like we can talk like behind the scenes and like really say how we're thinking, what we're thinking, and say what we think about our opponents and our training more candidly, I guess. And like, because in a way, you're trying to like, I don't know, it's just someone you don't really know. You don't talk as deeply with the other people. So it's been good because we've been training with everybody. A lot of people, the LA people, at least we've been meeting up and doing sparring and exercising and stuff. But John and I have been, when we're working out and training and we're just talking. And I feel it helps a lot because it makes it's like I'm getting his training sessions with mine, and I'm getting mine and his, and he's getting mine and his. Cause like, he's got advice from my coach. I've had advice from Josh Barnett. I trained with him and Josh Barnett. So it's like, I feel like I'm getting like a bit deeper dose of training. And I think it's good because last year was just me and my coach. I was only in Portland. And then I sparred every once in a while. I sparred with the iDubbbz at one point. But like this year, I feel like more knowledgeable because of my interactions with everyone else. And it really just helps put things in perspective. And especially when I see how other people are doing, and I go, oh, no, they weren't as good as I thought they were going to be at this point. So it kind of boosts your confidence a little bit, but also puts things in reality check too. It's like sometimes I'm sparring with someone else in this event and they give me like a good reality check. I'm like, oh dang, why was I not aware of like, I got hit pretty hard by Aaron from Game Grumps and it took me back a little bit, but he's also like a big guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I power through everything. I kept going. I didn't stop throwing, but it took me back when I was in my middle of throwing punches, and it was kind of like a wake-up call, I guess. But yeah, I just think it's beneficial to be training with a lot of people in the same event because you're all going towards the same goal.
And I remember the last Creator Clash was pretty different than a lot of pretty much any other combat sports event I've really ever seen, from the perspective of y'all hanging out throughout the day during the event, like taking pictures together, like social media posts, and then you guys went in there, fought each other legitimately. But it was like a big, like, it felt like there was, it was all for charity too, which we can't forget to mention. I mean, that's a gigantic part of this as well, of course. But without, I know stuff in the gym stays in the gym, but like, how did the sparring go with iDubbbz, just like in general? Because he's really impressed me, going from this kid making these videos on YouTube, for all those years, content cop and Kickstarter crap and all this stuff, and he was really the personification of like just like an internet YouTuber doing this stuff out of his basement. And now he's like really made a transformation. He's more or less a Chad now, which is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah,
so like,
he's like grown up in a way, and it's like it seems like a different person in a way. Also physically, his transformation, like he was such a scrawny, nerdy looking guy, and now he's like a thick dude.
Yeah. How did it go, like when y'all got in the ring together? Because I feel like y'all could really help each other out with where you're both at.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird for me because last year, and it was at a point where like I had just switched to Southpaw. And I was like listening to everything my coach said. And I started as Orthodox. Matt knew I was Orthodox. But then like a month and a half in, my coach wanted me to try Southpaw, standing Southpaw. And it just felt more comfortable. And he's like, don't tell anyone you switched. He's like, you're not lying by not telling them. And I was like, okay. He's like, this is how boxing is. Yeah. And he's just telling me, he's like, don't believe anything anyone says. Don't believe any video anyone posts. Cause like the boxing world is tricky. And that's like the thing, they put out false information and like there's a lot of just nonsense going out. So I was like, okay. I just felt like I had to do everything he said. So when I went up and trained with iDubbbz, I was standing sparring in an Orthodox stance, and I had since switched to Southpaw. So it was a little unnatural for me when I was sparring with him and everyone. So I had to feel like I didn't feel great about the whole situation, but it was cool. It was great for me because that was the first time I really got knocked around, because the guys up there hit harder than I at that point was getting with my coach and my sparring partners, because like we were going like 25%, because he really eased me into it. He didn't want me just to start getting hit. It was like a lot of shadow, no touching, 25%, and then we went 50%, and then we never even went. He's like, one of the last sparring sessions was like 75%, only one time, because he's like didn't want any extra injuries. But that time up in Seattle with iDubbbz, like I was getting knocked around, in my opinion, harder than I ever had at that point, and I was standing orthodox, so it was kind of like, I feel I didn't learn too much that time because I was like not doing what I normally do. But it was nice to kind of like get hit around a little bit. I genuinely like getting hit. Like, it sounds weird, but it like charges me up and makes me feel like, yeah, come on, like keep hitting me. Like, makes me want to hit back, and it makes me like excited in a weird way. And I guess it's something I just never got. I knew I wanted to get out of my system. But I truly like scrapping and getting like knocked around and hitting back. It's like, it lights the fire in me, I guess.
Makes you feel alive. I get that.
Yeah, you really feel alive, and I'm like, you can't. I gotta prove to them that they can't stop me, and I'll never back down, and I'll keep coming. Like, even if I'm just like my brain is dead, I'll still be on the ground, like throwing my fists. Just will not stop punching. So it's kind of. I learned that like throughout that whole last year, I learned a lot about myself, I guess, and how much I enjoy this.
You mentioned on Twitter that the diss track has been recorded. When is that, and can we get any type of a preview for it?
I could play.
You won't copyright claim much, right?
No, but the thing is, my friend owns the track, and it will get claimed unless he unclaims it.
Oh, right.
Which he's gonna do for me when I put it up, so it could get claimed. I'll give you a verbal preview, or I'll just give you a hint. I won't sing the lyrics or anything, but if you saw Keith Apicary on America's Got Talent, the nerdy gaming character who danced, that you can expect to hear something very similar in this diss track. Yeah, you have to do some research, I guess.
I'm looking forward to it. Do you have a date where that's going to be dropping?
I'm trying to put it up in I had to film the video. I had to film part of it here in LA and part in Portland. So it'll probably be like mid-February, unfortunately. I want to put it up. It's recorded. It's being mixed right now. And once it's done being mixed, I'm also waiting on this cameo, like a guest vocalist. Fingers crossed that he's able to do it. And then it'll be done, and I'll shoot the video. It'll probably be up at like mid-February. I like to get it out as early as I can, so there's like it's up well before the fight,
Sure.
But it's hard with all the training and all the other videos I'm shooting. So,
well,
but I have like 25 preloaded videos on my YouTube right now, because I went hustled over Christmas, because I was going to be. I know in the next week I'm going to be training for the next 11 weeks straight. Up until the fight, so I have everything like preloaded except for like some of these boxing videos. But yeah, it's been hard to get it all done while training every day.
Well, and also I know you've done a lot of traveling, like you mentioned. I know I've seen you popping up at other boxing events and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What's been the since, I guess, pre-Creator Clash 1 to now, when you show up at an event like that? And I mean, you're an unrecognizable, or sorry, I shouldn't say unrecognizable. You're a very recognizable guy. Like, you're walking around half the time with no shirt on and a tie. It's like, oh, that's Dad. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah. The dad look is memorable. I guess,
Yes. How's I guess kind of just the visibility, people recognizing you, and just kind of the feedback you're getting from, like, I guess the fan base, like nowadays versus kind of before you did the first Creator Clash?
It's been great. It's every like couple of years, I feel like I have something that's like, oh, you're that guy from these videos, or you're from this commercial, you're from this Disney show, or Always Sunny. I do like so many things that like every year or so I get like another spike in something.
Wait, were you
part? It was like one line. It was a sexual harassment seminar episode where they're like, basically
yes.
It was like they're all getting like Me Too, basically,
yep,
because they're all horrible. And it was like in a hotel. And I forget what I even said. It was literally nothing. The writer of Always Sunny knew me. I auditioned for it, and I did an episode of Community that she wrote as well. So I think when I auditioned, they were like, "Oh yeah, just have Nathan do it." But nothing great. It's a small little thing. But probably people go, "Oh, they just my face." is like, that weird bald man. So it's easy to remember.
Don't downplay that at all. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is my favorite show of all time. So like, I did not know that. I didn't catch it. I know exactly what episode you're talking about. That's the one where Mac picks up D from.
Yeah. I mean, that's
okay.
It was super funny. They were just going off the rails like during the whole thing, like making stuff up, and it made the scene from what was on the script like 10 times funnier just by like messing around. They added like so much just by like improving and figuring out what was funny, and then they kind of kept redoing things. So that was so funny. That was hilarious, that whole bit with him picking her up.
Man, I'm gonna watch that right after this. I'm gonna go back and find your scenes. I was already obviously a very big fan of Dad, but now I know you're part of literally my favorite show of all time. So
that was a thing like a year or two ago, and then now Dad is a thing. And I went to England a couple weeks ago to film my promo videos for this Creator Clash event with my friend who lives over there. And when I was at the airport in LAX, I sat down at like a restaurant, like, I had 2 hours to kill. And this guy sat next to was like looking at me, and I was thinking, because it happens on the street, especially in LA, because a lot of people in LA just consume entertainment and media, and they just all get recognized as whatever character every once in a while. And I was like, oh, he probably saw like one of the characters or something. And then he said, hey, are you that Dad boxer? And I was like, oh yeah. And he's like, dude, I just saw that on Instagram. I was like, oh, did you see the thing that says Dad beats up son? He goes, yeah. he goes, but I've also seen your dance videos like my whole life. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So it wasn't just that he saw me from. So yeah, a lot of people have been seeing me as Dad. And I told Anissa and iDubbbz, I was working out in Beaverton, Oregon, which is right outside of Portland. Right before I moved back down last summer, I was just exercising. 2 days in a row, 2 people came up to me and they said, hey, are you Dad from Creator Clash? So Dad from Creator Clash specifically is like the new thing I'm getting recognized as. So I told iDubbbz and Anissa, like, they've changed my life, and I hope to always be involved because it's keeping me relevant. And I appreciate them having me. So yeah, it's been amazing. Like, a lot of people are remembering Dad from the event. So I'm hoping this year I can put on just as good of a show, if not better, so that it guarantees me another slot next year.
I mean, how do you top the fastest knockout though? Like, you break your own record?
Well, so I don't think Matt put up no fight, and anyone could have done what I did. Honestly, I think
no. Don't take any.
Don't sell that short.
Come on.
I mean,
you still got to go out there and throw the punch. Like,
true.
And you got to stay on the gas too. Like, there's so many boxers that get in your kind of position and then let up. You just all gas.
And that's the thing. Like, I train specifically to never let up the whole. I can go all 5 rounds, all 2 minutes each 5 rounds, and literally never stop punching. Like, I don't need to break. My cardio is through the roof. So hopefully I can put on just as good of a show against AB. But the thing is, AB can take a punch and he punches back. So I have a new game plan this year, but it will be. I do feel I will obliterate him. Truly, I really just genuinely feel I will, based on how my sparring is going right now, and how he did last year in his fight. But I do have a different game plan, and I think to outdo that 22 seconds, I don't think I can outdo it in time. Maybe I can get lucky. Maybe I get a good shot, and knock him out quick. I would love to try that. I will hope for that. But I feel in my head how I outdo it is it's the most brutal match. And people are like, oh, dude, like, he messed him up. Like, that's how I think I could outdo it, where people are like, Dad is a savage.
That's going to have to rely on him to be able to take a lot of punishment, like a BJ Penn, Diego Sanchez type of thing, where you just beat him up for 5 rounds and then
exactly
it's like a mess after that. So that seems more dependent on him to just be able to withstand all of these shots, not you.
Yeah, I think he can withstand a good amount, but I don't think I feel he won't last as long with me as he did with Hundar, because in my opinion, Hundar went easy on him, and there was so much time where, like, no one was doing anything. They're just walking around the ring, like, literally walking. I was like, why are you walking? Like, get on that person and get out, get in and out, move. They were just like walking around, like throwing literally one punch, both of them. I was like, what is this? Like, nothing under 3 punches, always moving, always punching. I think he won't last as long against me, in my humble opinion.
I know you said you've been able to see some of the people training for the event, kind of in your circles and your gyms and stuff. And, there's some people I'm really interested in seeing on this show. I think it's good that Myth is getting there. He's going to be fighting Hundar, who you just mentioned. Myth looked really good on the chess boxing event recently. He fought Churdley, if I remember correctly, in chess boxing. And that was the best fight of the show, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Churdley's, I was very impressed by him because he got wiped out the last time I saw him box. Then it was Misfits or something. And I was like, oh, wow, Churdley actually did pretty well. Like, he was actually, like, moving and slipping and, like, timing his shots. But, yeah, he's a good boxer. I think Hundar and Myth will be a great match for sure.
Yeah, and the one that I'm honestly looking the most forward to out of people that I haven't seen fight before is Froggy Fresh, Tyler Cassidy. That dude's ripped. He's been ripped forever. So it's like,
oh yeah, oh my god, his videos. I watched his videos way back. That was like when I was doing the Skittles videos. I think he's so funny. I like the way he writes and the way his whole bit, because I also like bad wordings and like improperly. Like that's like my whole Skittles thing was like saying sentences backwards and inside out. And he does that, but you still understand what he's saying. He's so naturally funny, but he's also a super athletic dude. Like, he's already athletic. He's already working out. I think he was already boxing. I think he's going to wipe the floor in his match.
Yeah, playing Chris Ray-Gun.
Ray-Gun, right?
Yeah. I think Froggy Fresh. I think he's going to be a real sleeper in like just the YouTube boxing scene. Like, if he sticks with it, I think he's going to have a lot of success, especially because he's 5'2", so like there's going to, like, height wise and size wise, I think he's just going to be way faster, stronger, more athletic.
After this, I know Michael Reeves doesn't want to fight again, but like after this, like Michael Reeves versus Froggy Fresh, or the winner of it would be amazing. Because they both are like sleepers in my, that's what Michael Reeves was. No one expected Michael Reeves to be a war machine.
Well, did you watch this video of him attaching himself to all these like electronics and teaching his arm how to throw punches? But I mean, that kid, for people who don't know, Michael Reeves, he's like this nerd who has learned coding but uses it in like the weirdest ways in YouTube videos. Like he taught his fish how to trade stocks by just swimming around a bowl and stuff. And he was one of the most impressive guys in Creator Clash 1, as you just mentioned. He looked really, really good. So, dude, that's perfect matchmaking, in my opinion. Froggy Fresh looks good, and Michael Reeves wants to get back in there. I think that'd be a great fight.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'm very excited for the girls' fights too, because last year they proved to be that they stole the show. Like the Minx and Haley match was unbelievable. So I think the girls are they're working so hard in the Discord. It's like there's so much hype around them because they're like so determined to like show everyone like what they can do. I think it's going to be head to toe. This whole event is like going to blow Creator Clash 1 out of the water, which is hard to do because it was, I feel, and I watch every boxing event, pro boxing, YouTube boxing, the energy in the crowd and the boxers were so into it. And there was such a fun attitude and energy to the whole thing. I think this is going to be amazing. And I think the girls matches are going to be a big contributing factor to that.
And I heard that, I think I saw Anissa tweeting that the arena y'all got is twice the size as the last one. And it'll sell out just like the first one did. I mean, so what an atmosphere.
It's great. It looks to me like, I can't quite tell, but it looked like there was already half of it like sold out. There's like an image you can see where it's all white. All the white ones were gone. And it was after one day. Like the whole front is gone. And it's like bleeding into the middle now. So I can't imagine it won't sell out.
I do. I have a question about another recent Twitter post.
Okay.
Were you actually a former gravedigger?
I was, yes. In Natick, Massachusetts, the Dell Park Cemetery. My boss was Joe Bartolini. And originally I worked at a store or a garden shop called Mulch and More in Holliston, Massachusetts, where I delivered mulch in the dump truck. And then I would go to the cemetery to cut grass because that guy managed the cemetery. So he's like, oh, go cut the grass for the cemetery so I don't have to do it. And then that sort of evolved into like one day he's like, oh, we got to dig a grave. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we got to dig the grave. I'm a caretaker here. And I'm the grave digger. I was like, oh. And then it became, I do it all. And I became the grave digger. So it was really weird and really strange. But for 2 years, I was a grave digger, a little over 2 years. And that's how I saved all the money I earned at the cemetery, is how I moved out to Los Angeles in 2005. So I was a gravedigger, and I know how to put a body in the ground, and I am prepared to do that April 15th at Creator Clash.
See, that's a good backstory too. I mean, the post was great. You're like, I was a former gravedigger, so I know what I'm doing here. One way or another, I'm putting you in the ground.
And I think people don't think I really am, because I have the picture I posted is me like in the cemetery.
Yes, that's why I wanted to know.
It looks like a photo shoot, but the story is that's the actual cemetery I worked in. My brother Josh, who actually worked with me at the cemetery for a few months as well, he's a photographer, and I do a podcast called Grave Stories, and the whole gimmick is former gravedigger reads grave stories, and we talk about like these spooky ghost stories and stuff. I took that picture in the cemetery that I actually worked at with my photographer brother Josh, who made it look like this like big fancy photo. But yeah, I was a gravedigger, and where I'm standing is where I have dug actual graves. The people I'm standing on, I put there. So yes, I've had a real interesting past. I've had over 40 jobs. I worked on an Air Force base, painting the lines in the runway for when the jets were taking off. I've had every job under the sun until I finally just became like a performer actor full time in 2007. I think is when was my last job. So
wow.
Yeah.
Kind of small world full circle a little bit with the Always Sunny tie-in. I recently watched an interview with Danny DeVito where he talked about how before he got into acting, or at least made it in acting, he was he did hair as a mortician, like on
yeah. I talked to him about this because
really
I had a meeting with him years before I was on Always Sunny. He was developing a show where it was a Borat for kids. It was him and his son were the executive producers, and they were pitched me as the guy, because like I do a lot of like on the street pranks and characters and physical comedy. And they're like, oh, I was presented as the talent to do that. And they're like, oh, this guy would be great. But he saw all my videos and he didn't know what I was like as a person, because I was always in character. And he's like, what's this guy like? Is he crazy? So he wanted to have a meeting. So I met him at his lawyer's house in the Hollywood Hills. And we just talked about all kinds of stuff. I talked about Big Fish, which is one of my favorite movies. And he told me that story because I told him I was a gravedigger. So we talked all about the dead body we handled before we were actors. So yeah, I knew about that. He's interesting. He's a really interesting guy. I love him. He's like the funniest. Like, who knew he had to have this like not second win, because he's always doing something good. But it's such a different turnaround, like back into comedy when he got into Always Sunny. And it's like hands down, I think the funniest performance in anything. I just love gross, sloppy, nasty, dumb men and women. Anyone who's like Dee. Actually, she was so good. I don't know if you ever watched her spin-off show, The Mick.
Yeah.
She was like the Danny DeVito of her own show, and she was so funny because she was just such a lousy, degenerate person. I loved it. That's like my favorite kind of character. So yeah, Danny DeVito and her. It was just an honor to be involved with any of them.
That's Dennis on that show. He's the worst to me. Glenn Howard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolute worst on Always Sunny. Just no redeemable qualities.
No, exactly. That's what I like. That's what that show's so good, because it's like Seinfeld is all about like no lessons. That was Larry David's rules. Like no one learns a lesson. No character, like no hugging and no lessons was the things I guess he wouldn't allow on the show. And I think that's why it stood up from other sitcoms, because it wasn't like, oh, we're all hugging at the end, hey, we learned our differences, and it all wraps up. Nope, none of that. And then Always Sunny comes in, and it basically takes that model and throws it, out the window and goes, it's even worse. It's like no lessons, no morals, no hygiene, no like anything.
The characters progressively get worse over the years.
They're literally like the worst people in the world, and it's like fun to live through them because everyone has those little bits and moments of themselves in their own lives.
Man, do you have any other kind of like aspirations in acting or anything in the pipeline right now that you can talk about?
I'm trying. I made a short film called Neutral. I think it's the best thing I've ever made, the most impressive thing I've ever made. It's 22 minutes. It's on my YouTube channel. I want to finish that and make it a full feature film. That's like the beginning 22 minutes. I just need to shoot the other 60, and like we'll see the full feature film. That's like a big thing I want to do at some point. But it's like hard. When I think about it realistically, I'm like, when am I going to do that? I need to like stop everything and do that. And it's going to cost like $100,000. I have to do a major Kickstarter or something. And it's tough because like I also want to box. I also want to buy a house, and I'm trying to save for the past couple of years to like buy a house somewhere and maybe leave LA and get a place with like a yard and like a basement so I can have video games and like a little studio I can film things in. So I'm like, to give you too much information about my life, I'm trying to like figure out when do I do any of these things because it's just too much going on now. And I thought now I'm turning 42 next week. No, I'm turning 42 tomorrow. Oh, 2 days from now. February 2nd.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, 2 days from now is actually so legitimately when this airs, it'll be your birthday. So
perfect.
Let's go. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm 42 now to everyone watching this. And I would think I would be slowing down by now and that kind of relaxing, but I'm doing more than I ever have. Like I have big changes coming to the Dad YouTube channel. There's the boxing thing happening. I was thinking about maybe I was just with my friend in England. And I'm thinking about maybe I move to England for 6 months to just rent a house there before I like try to buy my own house somewhere because I really like England and it'd be nice, just kind of a life experience. So I know you didn't ask any of this, but this is just kind of what comes to my head when I think about what's coming up in the future. I don't know. Hopefully more stuff. There'll be definitely more videos. I have many videos coming and more boxing, but hopefully a film from me at some point.
Well, I know you said some big changes coming to the Dad channel. I know you've been on YouTube like as Nathan for like decades, really.
Yeah,
I mean, a long time.
2005 is when I started using YouTube, and then I used my friend's YouTube channel, and then I made my own channel in 2006, the second year of YouTube.
And then, but the Dad channel came later, right? And that's actually has that gotten the subscriber level of Nathan at this point already? Or is it pretty close?
It's about to hit 400,000, and about a year and a half ago, Nathan was at 400,000, and Nathan has had a little bit of a spike from the boxing thing. So Nathan's staying a little bit above, but the gap's getting smaller and smaller. So Nathan's at like 470,000 and Dad's about 400. So I think after Creator Clash and maybe the end of this year, Dad will probably pass. I think Dad will hit 500,000 first. But yeah, I've been on YouTube for 18 years and I've never hit 500,000 subscribers. So I'm hoping that this year is the year one of my channels is 500,000 and goes through the roof because I have big things coming. And Dad, I have big aspirations for Dad where I'm trying to get into more live music performances, like actual DJ shows out at clubs and festivals, where basically the sort of idea and the pitch is imagine Marshmallow's dad on stage and he's doing backflips and flopping around like a maniac, dancing really hard. And you're like, what is this dorky man? And why is this music actually good? And that's like that sort of second life I want to take with Dad outside after like the YouTube channel is more live performances. And I just did a music video with a quick little bit in Oliver Tree KSI music video. So I'm trying to like branch out and do more and more with like legitimate musicians. And I've been in so many Marshmallow, Robin Schultz, Pharrell, Florida. I've been in like every music video under the sun. So I'm trying to take all this music stuff I've done in the past and push it into my own thing where now the guy from the music videos is doing his own thing. And you can go see him DJ and lose his mind at some show. So I'm trying to set up some shows starting this summer. That's like the big new push for Dad. We can come watch him and party with him live. So, yeah.
Dad, I think last time we had you on, you were in a gas station parking lot. Is that correct?
Yeah. I was in a gas station parking lot. I remember this vividly. I was on the tour. I was on tour with the Game Grumps, basically doing kind of what I would like to do on my own tour. I opened up for the Game Grumps with just super hype energy where we played my music and I danced around on stage with the audience and had like dance competitions. And it was really cool because like my music videos were playing on like a huge screen. So people who are new to the Dad character who only knew me from boxing because they saw Aaron box and they're like, oh yeah, that Dad guy. I also do this other character, Keith, who was more in line with the Game Grumps bit is like Keith Abercrombie plays video games. So I think some of them were like, oh yeah, that guy. But if they didn't know the Dad character, it was a really great advertisement for me because it's like, oh, here's these 5 music videos we're watching as we're seeing him perform live, dance on stage, and we're dancing along with him. So that was amazing. I was doing that tour, and I was getting a massage, and I just got out of the massage, and I was sitting down in a gas station parking lot because I pulled like my left hamstring super bad jumping off the stage night after night. So yeah, I was sitting down in a parking lot talking to you guys. And
we didn't get a chance to ask you then because of your location, but I'm gonna ask you now. What is the coolest thing you have in your room?
We ask everybody.
Oh, like video game wise?
No, just
anything.
Like anything
Just,
that's in the room that you're in right now, or like the house that you're in. Like,
Oh,
we have like
I
a really
can show
cool...
you. There's some things I want to show you in this room.
I mean, you can get up and pick them up. Like, we don't.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I want to show it or not because it's like, well, it's not secret, but I'm gonna make a little a statement before I show it to the deep fans.
Now I'm scared.
Okay, awesome. I think we're getting an exclusive here.
Well, so there are fans in my audience that will have seen this before, but I'm gonna preface, I guess is the word I want to use, that this has nothing to do with the dad character, and this isn't a joke. This isn't in character. This isn't me wink wink. This literally has nothing to do with the dad character. It has to do with something else. I'm out of character a little bit right now. So, but this is the coolest thing that's in the room at the moment. Is this computer? And let's see. Oh gosh, darn it. I can turn it. It's an actual working computer. I can play Minecraft on it. I can do whatever I want on it. It's
really
glowing keyboard. In the house, I have arcade cabinets, which are probably maybe the coolest things I own. But let's see if you can hang on.
Wow, let me see it loading up.
It's turning on. The keyboard glows. You can kind of see the lights.
Yeah.
At some point, it should. I think I hit the button. Yeah. I didn't hear the sound though. It's hard to get your finger on the button from this angle. But yeah, this is a custom-made computer that will be in some videos in the near future. Did I get it? I hit the button, but it's not making the noise. Anyway, it's what's going on? Turn on. There it is.
There we go.
Oh, wow, that's
so, yeah. I don't have the mouse with me right now, so it does literally everything a modern Macintosh would do. So yeah, it's awesome.
That thing's dope.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's very sweet.
Did someone like who custom made that for you?
There's a guy named Mike Lombardo, Bardo. If you look up Bardo Industries on Instagram, he's got like pictures of the build. He made the Dad computer, like a Dad. In the Dad universe, there's tons of like weird looking tech that like works it legitimately works. He took this old 80s Apple computer and like changed the insides, changed the guts, repainted it. He made this portable phone that it was an Oregon Trail handheld game that he changed and put a Raspberry Pi in, and it played Minecraft. It went on the internet. It checked emails. It played Dad songs, and it was the phone that Dad used in the series. He makes really cool tech, and I basically asked him to make this exact design of this shape of this computer. It's based on an old 70s computer, and he just 3D prints the whole thing, sands it, paints it, makes it. It's awesome. So yeah, Mike Lombardo, he's a genius. And I have a lot of other things in this room that I'd like to show you that haven't been seen on the internet yet, but this one has been seen on Twitter. So yeah.
Yeah, that's badass. That's really cool.
Rad. Yeah, I love it. It's like it's cool because like I can. It's so light. I can like hold it with one hand and I can like take it anywhere I want. Like it's weird. I like clunky portable stuff. I had as the Keith character. I had an actual GameCube that I wear on my waist, the full GameCube, and it had a controller with a screen in it, like it was like a Wii U controller, custom made. And I'd walk around with a portable GameCube with the huge GameCube square on my hip. I like it because it's like it's so odd looking. You're like, what is that really portable? So I like big clunky tech that's like sort of portable, you know.
Were you so like a Game Gear kid when you were younger?
I love Game Gear. I love Atari Lynx. I love Sega Nomad, like all the portable peripherals I'm super into. But I want a Genesis that's the full Genesis.
Right.
Then put a screen in the Genesis and you use the console as the controller. Like I like the bigger and bulkier. I actually had a Nintendo 64 that I put the system on my chest with straps, like a laser tag pack or a chest plate. And then off of that was a controller. There's a picture of it somewhere on the internet. And the 64 controller had a screen in it. So I would wear the Nintendo 64, had a battery inside of it, and I could walk around wearing the system and play the game. And you take the cartridge and you'd plug the cartridge into your chest. It was the coolest freaking thing.
Awesome.
And it was like, why do this? This is like stupid. And everyone wants small and compact, but I like big and bulky. But as long as you can still carry it and wear it, it's truly portable. I have a portable PlayStation 5 right now. And like I get these portable batteries and I strap them to the bottom. I have a portable PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a portable GameCube. I built my own portable Nintendo 64, and I have a portable Dreamcast, which is actually it was made in the 90s. It's called a Dreamcast with a T. And it was like Chinese company that Sega sued and like shut down, but they were very rare, and I got one of them recently off eBay. So I just like portable technology, and I also will then take those systems that you normally plug into a wall, and I get a portable battery, and I'll like I'll Velcro it to the bottom of like the PlayStation, so that I can then truly take a PlayStation 5 anywhere I want. But it's super heavy and bulky. And people think, why do you have this? And I think because it's funny, and it's like no one else has it, so now I do.
I love that.
If you show wrestling fans a portable Nintendo 64 and they realize you could walk around just playing No Mercy all day, these things would fly off of the shelf.
I did that on my birthday last year. So exactly a year ago, I built this portable Nintendo 64 on my birthday. It's a really weird clinker. I'll show you a picture if I can get it up fast enough. On my birthday in what is it? No, the Cheesecake Factory. My brother and I played No Mercy in Cheesecake Factory on my portable Nintendo 64 on my birthday a year ago. In 2 days from now, a year ago. I'll try to show you a little video. I built this. It was basically a wooden box frame that I built, put the 64 in it. Here it is. And then basically it's a tray I carry around that has a monitor in it. And this is me building it. This is the wood. I cut the wood, and then I spray painted the wood. I'll skip through. Let me see here. Skipping. So then I built this. And then you can see there was a little thing where the monitor goes right up in that top part. And then here it is.
Oh wow,
dude, that's awesome. That's cool that you put all this time into something like that.
Star Wars on it
because so the Nintendo 64 I had years ago was made by like someone who actually like fabricates and like makes plastic, and so yeah, there it is. So I basically just you carry it around, you put it on your lap, you put it on a table, whatever. But it is portable, and the battery underneath is rechargeable. So I got that 9-inch monitor on Amazon. But the guy who made my original one like melted the plastic and did that whole thing. And I still don't have it anymore. And I wanted it. I was like, I don't want to wait and have someone else make me one. I was like, I'm just going to slap it together with wood. So that's the not as good one that I made myself.
Oh, that still rules though. Some of that shit's like ingenious to me. Just
it's fun. I love all those hacker videos, like Ben Heck, I think his name is, and a bunch of other people. They'll like there's a mod for a Dreamcast called the Stormtrooper, and it basically looks like a Stormtrooper helmet, and it's like this portable Dreamcast that you like. Was it a Dreamcast or a 64? I think it's Dreamcast, but like there's like really sleek, cool looking portable old retro systems now that people can make, and you can get the plans and like do it yourself. But like I can't 3D print things, so I can spray paint wood. That's easy for me.
Dad, we appreciate you joining us here today. Let everybody know. Let everybody know where they can find you at, and anything you wanna plug, anything you got to say about AB, who you're going to bury here in a couple of months.
Well, you can find me if you search Dad on YouTube. I should be one of the first things that comes up. Search Dad or Nathan Dance if you need another keyword that helps you find me. And to AB, what do I say? I crave pain. I love the glove. I will. I don't know. I want to eat your punches. I'm starving for pain. So bring it to me. Give it to me. I'll eat it all on a buffet of pain. So try it as hard as you can. It will not do you any good. And a lot of people say the same things I'm saying, and it's just like I truly want him to try to hurt me. Like I need it, and I love it, and I want it. And the more he tries, or the more you try, AB, the more it will lighten me up, and I will bring that much 10 times the pain you're bringing to me. So let's brawl. Let's throw down hard. I want to give everyone a show, and hopefully one of us gets knocked unconscious, because that's the only way to give people what they paid for, in my opinion.
Yes, Saturday.
I want everyone to be safe at the same time, but I don't want the people setting up the event to know that I want to hurt someone super bad, but I want everyone to be safe, but I also really want to put on a good show.
Yes, right. That's going to be Saturday, April 15th, 2023, Creator Clash 2. I cannot wait, dude. As you said earlier, I'm not just saying this because you're on the show. I've said this on many platforms, many different podcasts. My favorite influencer boxing type event of any kind was Creator Clash 1. I watch it all just like you do, from the best pros down to the TikTokers who have never done it before. And I have really high expectations. Huge shout out to iDubbbz and Anissa for putting all this together. And I mean, I absolutely can't wait. I'm gonna, if I could be there in Miami, I'd go. I don't think I can be there, but I'll absolutely be watching live. So
Tampa. It's in Tampa for anyone listening.
Oh, sorry, Tampa. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's in Tampa. Yeah. So if anyone does want to go, get the tickets ASAP, because they will sell out. It sold out super fast last year. And it seems like it's on its way to do that again. And if you are a wrestling fan, which I'm guessing most people listening or watching are, this I think is the best YouTube boxing event to watch, because it's most in line, in my opinion, with the characters and the trash talking and the fun and the pageantry. It's just so much closer to what pro wrestling is than any other event.
And the loyal fan bases, like, you'll hear the crowd live. Like, even if you tune into the show and you don't know who everybody on this card is, the people in attendance will be loud for these fights. So
and they do good video. Atmosphere. They do good video packages too, which sort of sets up who everyone is. So if you don't know, it's kind of like, okay, now I get it. I know where this guy comes from and this girl comes from. Now I can kind of get on board and pick my side. So
guys, you can learn more about the event at The Creator Clash. There's a link in the description of this video. All the links to support Dad, to support Johnny Spotlight, are also below in the description of this video. We appreciate you guys coming on today, giving us some time. Good luck on April 15th. We're rooting for the double knockouts. AB going down, Harley going down at the hands of Dad and Johnny Spotlight. And guys, we will be right back here on the Spotlight. We're back. Thank you to John Morrison, Johnny Spotlight, and Dad for joining us in our Creator Spotlight, talking about Creator Clash, talking about Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Danny DeVito, portable Nintendo 64s, digging graves, dish tracks, Joe Rogan calling out, giving some love to Dad for beating up his son. Great guys, Dad and John Morrison. Looking forward to watching them fight at Creator Clash. I imagine we'll talk more about Creator Clash as the time comes, as you can tell by Steven Jensen's reaction on that interview. He's very excited for this. He is very excited for this. So, guys, we appreciate you joining us today here on the Spotlight. We'll be back next week. Once again, 8:30 next week, as I have a personal task that I need to handle after the show. So I need to bump it up a little bit early. So 8:30 a.m. Eastern next week on the Spotlight. Check out FightfulOverbooked.com. We have new content daily here shortly on Fightful Overbooked. We have the NXT Vengeance Day betting odds and predictions with myself and SP3. We're going to spend fake money and bet on the NXT Vengeance Day card. Please bet responsibly if you are a bettor out there. That's up at 12 o'clock on FightfulOverbooked.com. Also, later on today, we have Indeed with Mike and Righteous Reg covering the world of independent professional wrestling. Go give that a look. That is premiering. That is the debut episode of Indeed on Fightful Overbooked today. Go check that out a little bit later on. I believe it's after Ask Rhapsody. So it's later on in the evening. Go check it out. Day After Dynamite with Will Washington, and I believe myself will be later on today here on this channel, 3 p.m. Eastern, reviewing last night's Dynamite. We have the Shawn Michaels media call that's starting in about less than an hour. Plenty of stuff, whether it's Fightful Overbooked or Fightful.com. Give us some love. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some subscriptions. And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the love, the support. Catch y'all.